Ladies and gents, boys and girls, happy Wednesday. Happy hump day. Hope you're all doing well. Chris Phillips here, your host of the Daily Crow of the Spurs Up Show. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in here on this final day in the month of May. Isn't it crazy how time flies? I see Brendan MC, Youngblood, Travi, GA, Ethan, John Edward, Austin Gregory tuning in from Beach Island, South Carolina. Shout out to Beach Island and the CSRA. Also, those in the Big Cock Club Discord, head over to the TDC Questions channel. The TDC Questions channel to be sure your questions are answered there. Yes, ladies and gentlemen, it is Hump Day. Guess what day it is? It is Hump Day, and we got an exciting Hump Day for you all today, guys. Content bleeding out of the eyeballs. Truly, of course, in our third hour, we'll take your questions, your comments, your calls at 843-790-3377. So make sure in the meantime, you give us a ring, shoot a text over to the text line, or leave your comments in the YouTube chat, and we will take all of those questions, those comments, and those calls in our third hour. And our second hour, guys, will actually feature our conversation with the Orange and Black podcast as we continue along our Columbia regional team breakdowns. We'll have a full Camels breakdown with the Orange and Black podcast. Really excited for you guys to hear that. Everything you need to know about Campbell. So you have all the information ahead of this weekend and everything that you need on the Camels, just in case the Gamecocks take on the number 2 seed in the Columbia Regional. Also, guys, a surprise conversation. This is one that sort of just came up over the last couple of days. Adam Brennaman, he's a former tight end at Penn State, but a current college football analyst for ESPN. He also hosts Next Up, with Adam Brennaman, which is his own podcast, of course. And he's also the co-founder of College Sports Co. on Twitter, which is Mercury Sports, I believe. We'll get more information from him on that. But really, really exciting stuff. Adam Brennaman also most notably had a one-on-one conversation with Gamecocks head coach Shane Beamer. So I thought, why not? Let's get Adam in here and let's chat and discuss Gamecocks football with him, and looking forward to hearing his thoughts and everything and having that conversation. But again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Really, really excited to chat with each and every single one of you today. Let me start off by saying thank you all so much for the love and the support, man. I feel it. We truly do from you guys. And I was talking to somebody this morning. They told me, we're so blessed as a fan base to have this content coming to us on a day in, day out basis, this nonstop content. And there's a lot of fan bases out there who would love to have what we have in regards to consistent coverage of our team and consistent banter on a day in, day out basis. Well, let me say thank you to you all, and say to that person as well as to you all that it is truly an honor and a privilege, and it's a blessing above all else that I get to wake up and do this every single day and get after it. And I can't say thank you enough to you guys, because again, it's truly a blessing, man. It's truly a blessing, and I'm grateful for it. I never stop having gratitude because I have perspective, and I'm just so grateful to have, again, the opportunity to do this. So thank you guys so much for making TSUS what it is, what it's becoming, and always bringing the heat each and every single day. So again, guys, got a packed show today. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into it. And as I've said before, we have reached the point in the off season where it's list season, right? Over the next month or so, we're really going to be searching for content. It's why last year you saw us do our top 5 rankings of literally everything from uniforms to helmets to players to coaches. I mean, it's the time of year where you're ranking everything, right? And so yesterday we talked top villains in Gamecocks football history, and sticking with the topic of Gamecocks football, I figured why not? As we look at the 2023 football season, today I am ranking my top 5 best road trips of the Gamecocks 2023 football season. And it works out well because there are just 5 games away from Williams-Brice Stadium this season. So I will rank these my top 5 of the road trips that South Carolina is taking this season. Here are the ones you should prioritize, and maybe if you don't want to go, the ones you should skip, if you will, that are at the bottom of this list. But I will say all of these would be great road trips. There's never a bad place to watch Gamecocks football. With that being said, let's go ahead and dive into the list. At number 5 on my list, this is probably one of the worst atmospheres in the SEC in regards to a place to catch a game. Admittedly, by the way, the majority of the places on this list I have not been to, so maybe it's unfair for me to say. However, I've been in this city. I have seen the stadium, and I've heard enough from Gamecock fans who have made the trip that it's probably the one you look at the schedule this year and you say, you know, I'm okay with skipping that one. And that is the road date, October the 21st at Missouri. One of the farther trips on the schedule. And you also think about the way that Eli Drinkwitz and Mizzou have had the Gamecocks number. You also factor in weather, by the way. I mean, dude, late October, hell, it might be snowing up there in Como. Again, the atmosphere is so-so. I don't think anybody would list it at the top of one of those must-see places in the SEC. And so for me, I think it's one, again, you look at the list of the road games, you look at the list of the road dates, and South Carolina's 2 longest travel, if you will, they're the furthest destinations that they play a game. They play them in the same year, which is weird, Missouri and Texas A&M. So if you're looking to make a long road trip, I think you look at the schedule, you look at those 2, and I think if you have to cross one off your list, I do think it's that road date, October the 21st at Mizzou. So number 5 on my list, the road date at Missouri in the fake Columbia. Coming in at number 4 on my list, and this one will probably draw some debate because there is a lot of hype and anticipation and excitement around the season opener against North Carolina. And it's also set to be a great matchup on September the 2nd. But hear me out. We talked to Mark Rogers about this a couple of days ago in regards to, are you a fan of neutral site contests in college football? And admittedly, guys, I don't love them. Now, you're talking Georgia, Florida, you're talking Oklahoma, Texas, you're talking some of these games that there is historical significance. There's a tradition around going to Jacksonville. There's a tradition around playing Oklahoma, Texas in the Texas State Fair. But playing a neutral site game at Bank of America Stadium, like this would be much higher up my list if the Gamecocks were simply going to Chapel Hill. I've been to a game at Bank of America Stadium, both for the Panthers and for South Carolina. And I'm not saying it's a terrible venue. Uptown is awesome. I got nothing but love for Charlotte, by the way. Got nothing but love for the city of Charlotte and, of course, the Charlotte Gamecocks as well. But in regards to if you're going on the road, you're looking for a unique college atmosphere, a unique college football game experience, this one falls behind the others that rank ahead of it, right? B of A is really cool, like I said, and you'll probably see a great football game. But I just think in regards to an atmosphere and that college feel, again, if you're narrowing down the list and you're ranking these, there are much better options. So number 4 on my list, while it features a great football game, it features a great game, undoubtedly, the season opener, Spencer Rattler against Drake May. Number 4 for me is that season opener, just because it's in Charlotte at Bank of America Stadium, September the 2nd. At number 3 on my list, and this is one that's actually on my bucket list to go to. I don't know if it'll be this year or another season in which I'll go, but I am really looking forward to one of these days getting down to, at number 3 on our list, College Station at Texas A&M, the final ball game of the month of October, October 28th, Halloween weekend. These 2 teams will play each other. Now, the only thing scary about this one, the only thing scary is the fact that that's a long road trip to make to watch South Carolina get their butts beat. And I say that just because it's been a house of horrors for the Gamecocks. These games, the first couple of times, 15 and 17 in those years, they were competitive. Since then, guys, 19, 21, I mean, it has been a straight-up butt-whooping each of the last 2 times the Gamecocks have been down there. However, South Carolina has snapped the streak against Texas A&M. So are the records thrown out the window? Could the Gamecocks go into Aggie land and get the W? Also, what's Texas A&M going to be this year with Bobby Petrino at OC and the Heat somewhat picking up on Jimbo Fisher? I think this one does have the makings of being a really intriguing football game. And also, guys, again, you think about the 12th man, you think about College Station and that experience. I mean, one of the all-time or one of the cathedrals in the SEC that I think is a must-see. Again, I've never been down there, but I've heard great things from those who have been there. So coming in at number 3 on my list, it is probably the furthest you'll have to travel, but I think it'd be an awesome experience at Texas A&M, October 28th, the road date in College Station. Coming in at number 2 on my list, and the only reason this road trip is not number 1 is because of how I think the game is most likely, unfortunately, going to go. Now, upsets happen. We've seen it before here in 2019. But realistically, South Carolina is probably at minimum a 3-touchdown underdog entering this ballgame, and it would take a Herculean effort, and it would be an upset of epic proportions if it were to happen. But when you factor in college atmosphere, the overall experience, I mean, you're talking everything. Tailgating, the game itself, the pageantry of college football. There are few places that embody that more than Athens, Georgia. Number 2 on my list, at Georgia, between the hedges, the week 3 date, which we now know, by the way, is going to be a 3:30 kickoff on CBS, September the 16th. And guys, we've all been to Georgia, or at least most of us have. I've been there as well. I mean, I hate Georgia. Don't get me wrong, but it is a great place to catch a college football game. It's a great place to tailgate. I mean, it should be a lot of fun. We'll see. Maybe the Gamecocks can do the unthinkable and take down and upset the back-to-back national champions. I'm not banking on it right now, not trying to spoil my predictions for the fall, but I think you guys, there's no surprise where I fall. I'm sitting basically where everyone else is sitting as well. But that game at Georgia, again, guys, just for the experience, if you've never been to Sanford Stadium, there's been a lot of weird chatter about Sanford Stadium this offseason, about how quiet it is and it's not a good environment. I mean, there's some that rank ahead of it. I mean, sure, maybe, but Sanford Stadium is second to none when it comes to great college football atmosphere. So at Georgia, September the 16th, between the hedges in Athens could set up, especially if the Gamecocks are 2-0. You could argue me this is number 1 on the list, but at number 2 on my list is the road date in Athens at Georgia on September the 16th, which brings me to number 1. When you think about the energy, the excitement, the just what happened a year ago, 63-38. Need I say more? And the edge that Tennessee will be coming into with this game, 100,000 packed out. It's going to be one of the best environments in college football, not just in the SEC, but this season going to be one of the best we see all year long. Number 1 on my list, because I think about the location, the pageantry, the quality of the game. I think it's going to be an excellent game. Huge game for South Carolina. Huge game for Tennessee. Number 1 on my list, Neyland Stadium back on Rocky Top in Knoxville at Tennessee, September the 30th. And regrettably, this is a place I've never been. I've never been on Rocky Top. I've seen it. I've been to Knoxville for a baseball series. I've never actually experienced a football game on Rocky Top. And you guys all know I love college football stadiums. I love seeing different stadiums. One of these days, maybe this year, I will be at a game. But that road date at Tennessee, I just think that's got everything you want, man. Georgia'd be ahead if, I thought the competitiveness would be in that ball game. But this game at Tennessee, man, it's got it all. It's got a competitive football game. It's got Heupel versus Beamer. It's got these two fan bases that hate each other. Carolina, Tennessee's turning into a big-time rivalry. Neyland Stadium is one of the best in college football. It'll be packed out. Tennessee fans are going to be pissed off, and they want to beat Carolina by 100 for ruining their playoff hopes. Carolina fans want to stick it to Tennessee and show them, hey, we're the program on the rise, not you. This game has all of the makings of everything you want to see in a great college football game and a great road atmosphere. And both fan bases, both South Carolina and Tennessee, both fan bases believe they're going to kick the other team's ass. It is going to make for an electric atmosphere from tailgating to the in-stadium experience to the game itself. It is going to be an absolute electric factory. So again, number one on my list in regards to the best road trips of the 2023 football season at Tennessee Neyland Stadium, September the 30th. I think it could be one of the games of the year on South Carolina's schedule. So again, guys, my top 5 best road trips of the 2023 football season for Carolina. At number 5, at Missouri on October 21st. Number 4, against North Carolina on September the 2nd. Number 3, at Texas A&M on October the 28th. Number 2, at Georgia on September the 16th. And number 1, that game at Old Tennessee, September the 30th on Rocky Top, should be a lot of fun. Guys, I'd love to hear from you. How do you feel on these road dates? Do you disagree? Do you agree? And are you going to any of these games? Are you making the plans to take these road trips? And which ones are you most looking forward to? Guys, that being said, we're about to jump into a quick break. We got Adam Brennaman on the other side. Really excited for this conversation, guys. Really, really excited for this conversation. I see my brother is tuned in. Adam Brennaman, one of the best in the business. Let's go ahead. We'll get into the break. He will join us as we come back on the side, and we'll keep the conversation going here on this Wednesday, May the 31st, 2023. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
That's your Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, are back here on this Wednesday, May the 31st, 2023. Going to appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. We got this conversation upcoming with Adam Brennaman, former Penn State tight end, three-time All-American, by the way. Was a three-time All-American and does a little bit of everything. So I'll let him explain that. Again, guys, thank you all so much for tuning in on this hump day. We got Brendan M. commenting in the Big Cock Club Discord. He loves to give me grief about, we'll do like pre-recorded conversations and then we'll air those on this show. So to you guys, it's happening live or whatever. It doesn't matter. It's pre-recorded. Brendan M gives me grief because I'm back here taking breaks. Well, all I'm doing is recording the conversation at a different time and then airing it during TDC. So the work has been done. Anyways, I know you guys love to give me grief. On the note, though, of the Big Cock Club Discord and those who are interested, intrigued by it, want to join the Big Cock Club Discord, huge announcement for the BCC coming later this week. Either, we'll say Friday morning. We'll say Friday morning is when that will drop. Big announcement for the Big Cock Club Discord. I don't want to oversell it, but it is something big that impacts the people who are already in the Big Cock Club Discord and impacts people who want to join the Big Cock Club Discord. So something cool that I think, again, will make the BCC more welcoming and inviting to people, and something I think will be a positive change for sure, and something that I sat down and I felt like was the best move moving forward for BCC. So anyways, but to my BCC members, nothing's going to change the Discord, nothing behind the scenes like that, but it's going to be a positive for all parties involved. Going to be a positive for all parties involved, and excited for it. So anyways, guys, in the meantime, we got a couple of minutes until Adam Brennaman's going to join us. Be sure you're leaving your questions, your comments, your calls at 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377 here on this Wednesday, May the 31st, 2023. Guys, we should be finding out today kickoff times for South Carolina, North Carolina in week 1, and South Carolina Furman in week 2. That is something that should be happening today. So we'll see when that takes place. But, yesterday, of course, we got that. So yesterday, of course, we got the Georgia kickoff. And it's funny, I just saw that SEC podcast. They dropped their show and said, no one appears to be happy with the first SEC on CBS selection because it's Carolina, Georgia, because the spread is 24 points. But I'm sure Georgia's thrilled. They don't want to just play noon games. I'm sure Georgia's thrilled, and we should be thrilled as well. I mean, that's great. You love being on CBS. That game will be a great opportunity for South Carolina football. It'll be a great opportunity for recruiting to get yourself out there on a national stage, if you will, and, to get a huge upset, to get a huge dub. And even if you don't win the game, and hell, I literally said this last year, even if you don't win the game, bro, if you can keep that thing within 2 touchdowns, I think that shows great progress. And I know nobody wants to hear that. I understand nobody wants to hear that, but realistically, you look at that game, dude, Georgia's still Georgia. They're back-to-back national champions. And the thing that I think should scare you the most is when you look at like the Athlon unit rankings and you look at where you rank offensive line and defensive line, I just realistically, man, I don't think you're going to have the line of scrimmage to battle Georgia, to go back and forth with Georgia, to hang with Georgia. They're going to be able to push you around and do whatever they want to do. So, we'll see. I mean, upsets do happen. We've seen Carolina do crazier things, man. We've seen this Gamecocks football program play out of their butts and make things happen. So you just never know when it comes to Carolina football. And, so you just never know, man. You just truly never know. Let's see. So this is funny. 24/7 Sports created the all-transfer team. Jaheim Bell listed at tight end and Jordan Birch listed at an edge. So crazy. The Gamecocks had 2 players on the all-transfer team list that exists because 24/7 Sports did that. So anyways, guys, the next minute or so, we will have Adam Brennaman joining the show. Really, really excited for it. Again, guys, he sat down with Shane Beamer, had a great conversation on his airways. We're going to talk about that much, much more as well. Adam Brennaman doing a little bit of everything. Let's see. And in the meantime, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. You can leave us your questions, your comments, your calls as well, and we'll take all of those in our power hour later in the show. Really, really excited for that. Just looking over. Adam Brennaman does a great job with his link tree. This is inspiring. I might revamp our link tree. Okay. Let's see. All right, cool. He's in here. Guys, really, really excited. Again, joining us today on the show as we keep the conversation going. It's never too early to look at the 2023 football season, look back on 2022, everything in between. And also, he had a one-on-one conversation with Gamecocks head football coach Shane Beamer. Does a great job with everything he does with ESPN as a college ball analyst, also an entrepreneur. We'll get him in here. He can explain the rest to you all because he does a little bit of everything. Adam Brennaman joins the show. Adam, what's going on, man? I appreciate you taking the time.
What's up, man? I appreciate you having me on. I'm excited to talk some South Carolina football, man.
Yeah, dude, absolutely. So I was looking over everything you do, man. And again, you're doing a little bit of everything, man. You're a college football analyst for ESPN. You're an entrepreneur with your own thing with, what is it, College Sports Co. or Mercury? Is that the name of it?
Yep.
Mercury. Okay. You've got your own podcast as well. Next up with Adam Brennaman. So, and also, by the way, you're a 3-time All-American tight end at Penn State. And did you spend a year at UMass, or what was your college career? Because I remember you at Penn State. I don't remember the UMass experience.
Yeah, no, I appreciate the intro. Yeah, I spent 2 years at UMass. So I was at Penn State for 3 years. Was a freshman All-American at Penn State. Got hurt, had a knee injury, transferred to UMass, and then I kind of had 2 good years at UMass, and then went to the combine, the Senior Bowl, and failed physicals for my knee. That's when I kind of got into coaching and got to kind of this point here now. But yeah, South Carolina recruited me back in the day. It was Who was the quarterback's coach? G.A. Mangus, right? Was he?
Yeah,
was he
G.A. Yeah.
G.A. recruited me. He recruited Harrisburg, Pennsylvania. So South Carolina was one of my first offers.
Very nice. Well, Adam, I did my best with the intro in regards to everything you're doing, but just let folks know everything you're up to, where they can find your work. Again, I know you've got the podcast, which is where that conversation with Shane Beamer is featured. Again, you're an entrepreneur, which I love and respect. But let everybody know just, again, where they can find all of your work and tune into all your great content.
Yeah, I appreciate it, man. So, yeah, my weekly podcast is called Next Up with Adam Brennaman. We have head coaches and athletes and a bunch of guys. Coach Beamer was on last week. That's on YouTube. You can look up Next Up with Adam Brennaman. All over social media at Adam Brennaman, and posting tons of content around college football, the podcast guests, all that kind of stuff, and just trying to blow up social media, man. That's kind of our goal. We just post a ton of content and bring a lot of value to people in the college football world. That's what we're trying to do, and I'm excited for trying to have on some more SEC head coaches. And Coach Beamer was really one of the first head coaches. Man, like it's hard to get these coaches to sit down for 10 minutes, let alone an hour and 15 minutes to talk about anything. So Coach Beamer was really cool to talk to.
Adam, before we get going, I'm curious, why didn't you choose South Carolina?
Man, when you grow up in Pennsylvania and Penn State offers you, it's hard not to go to Penn State. So that was I never even got the chance to visit South Carolina. I looked at a few SEC schools like Bama, Florida, but South Carolina, for whatever reason, just never really was that high on the list. A lot of it too is just timing and how hard a school recruits you and all that kind of stuff. But yeah, it's a great program, man. They're one of my first SEC offers, so I'll always be thankful.
Well, Adam, let's go ahead and get into it, man. I want to start with your one-on-one conversation with Shane Beamer. And, of course, like you mentioned, that full convo is on YouTube. You've posted a bunch of clips on social media. And so I want to ask you to rehash everything you guys talked about. But I'm just looking, man, you talked about his life as a head coach, of course, getting the Carolina job, growing up with his dad, being Frank Beamer, recruiting, philosophies. I'll ask you this. I'm sure it's hard to narrow it down to one thing, but, what were your biggest takeaways walking away from that conversation? What were your thoughts, your biggest takeaways from that combo with Shane Beamer?
Yeah, a couple of things. I mean, I've been so impressed with how much Coach Beamer's bought into the kind of this new era of college football, right? The content, the social media, the recruiting, the transfer portal, the NIL, and being innovative on every step of it. We talked about he's done a lot of these videos, the social media videos, right? The office parody, he's dancing on social. So that kind of stuff I think is really cool. And I asked him about that and kind of the strategy behind it. And he said, the more people that see our program, the better, and that he's embracing. And I think that's been really cool. And I think a lot of coaches and programs will take notes from how he's building that brand at South Carolina. We talked off camera. There's a book, and he actually was talking about it too, called Brands Win Championships. And it basically talks about how, the best programs in college athletics, they really start with just a brand, and the brands are the ones that become the best, and it all trickles down from the brand. I know that's something he believes in a lot. So that was cool to talk about. My favorite part of the conversation on camera was probably when he dove into the 25-minute story of how he got the South Carolina job. I think that was really neat to hear. The search firm called him and was like, "Hey, you're probably not getting this job, but we just want to interview you anyway." To the AD calling him and making small talk the day that he knew they were making the decision, and they're talking about a game on TV, and he's like, "Just get to it and tell me, did I get the job or not?" I thought he told some really cool stories there, and for anyone who hasn't watched yet, I think you get to see Coach Beamer's personality, and he kind of relaxes a little bit. And with coaches, you get the coach speak all the time, right? You hear the same lines, the same one-liners. And I think for parts of the pod, he was able to kind of be himself and tell some funny stories and talk a little bit. We talked about the toughest recruiting loss in his career. And he talked about what if South Carolina would have been able to keep Quinn and AJ Green and keep those guys home with South Carolina. So there's a lot of really cool parts of it.
Well, Adam, speaking of Beamer and the job he's done the first 2 years, I mean, how would you evaluate it? Of course, back in 2021, and like you mentioned, he's hired in 2020. And, I know here locally and amongst Gamecock Nation, I think most were in favor of the hire. I know I was, because I felt like it was the it was the roll of the dice that South kind of needed. And if you know the program and you evaluated it honestly, you know it's a very tough job. It's a unique job, and you need somebody in there who doesn't just view it as a stopping place. They view it as home, which is I'm sure Beamer talked about, and he obviously views it that way. But a bit of a roll of the dice, if you will. A lot of people, I actually posted something a couple of days ago, Athlon Sports, in which they do a great job in their magazine, but they ranked him 14th amongst SEC head coaches. So he had a lot to prove, and he's definitely done that his first 2 years. I mean, 2021, just getting to a bowl game was a victory, but they then win the bowl game in big fashion over North Carolina. Last year, obviously, what they did to close out the season, beating both Tennessee and Clemson, getting to 8 wins. So your just overall thoughts on the job he's done through 2 seasons in Columbia?
I mean, it's extremely impressive. You look at, you mentioned last season, that win against Tennessee, to beat Clemson finally, at South Carolina, and get that place back to where people can be proud of it. I mean, you mentioned it's a unique job for a lot of reasons. I mean, from a recruiting standpoint, where you have to go to recruit there and who you're recruiting against at every step, it's unique. And for a program in the SEC that's had some success, it doesn't have the tradition that a lot of those programs do, like an Alabama, like an Auburn, like a Tennessee. So it is a tough job per se. And I think like you mentioned, the cool part is that this is a job that Coach Beamer's wanted his whole life and has been dreaming of being the head coach of South Carolina since he was a kid. So he says on the pod, everything I've done has been to be the head coach here. Right? That's been the goal. So I think that's what you want as a program, as a fan base. The job he's done with Spencer, I think, is really unique, and how he's kind of handled that dynamic. Spencer, love him or hate him, whatever you want to say about Spencer. Spencer is a unique individual with a unique personality. There's no other way to put it. You can defend him all you want. I like his personality. I've spent some time around him, but he's very unique. I mean, he's a quarter, and just for the record, a lot of quarterbacks do have unique personalities, but Spencer's, that's not an easy dynamic to handle. And the way he's kind of developed him, the maturity that Spencer's had since he's been there, I think is really impressive, and he's handled that thing really, really well. And then the recruiting at a super high level. I mean, that's what it's all about at the end of the day. Can you get the players in the program to have the success that you need? So the expectations now are high, though. I mean, that's the reality. Is whenever you go 8-5, and whenever you beat Clemson, Tennessee, the expectations are high moving forward. But I think that they have the pieces in place to meet the expectations.
And Adam, you speak on Spencer Rattler. I want to take the conversation there. What did Shane Beamer have to say about his quarterback? And then what are your views on him? Because, I know last year at this time, there was some mixed feelings. You had some people like the Jordan Rodgers and the Tim Tebow's of the world over at SEC Network that thought he was a top 3 or 4 quarterback in the SEC. Then you had a guy like David Pollack who said, hey, he's coming from Oklahoma where they had better players, a better system, and now he's coming to South Carolina with less of that. I don't think he's going to be very good. And for 10 games, David Pollack was very much so proved right. And then the final 2, we saw truly the ceiling and the talent of Spencer Rattler. So I feel like, Adam, there's kind of a mixed bag again where it's like, well, can he bottle up what he did in the final 2 weeks and carry that over? Was it all on Marcus Satterfield and the offensive play calling and the scheme that was limiting him? Shane Beamer's comments and thoughts on his quarterback, and then your thoughts and comments as well on your expectations for Rattler this season.
Yeah, I asked Coach pretty directly, actually 2 times, about Spencer, and kind of was trying to get him to dive a little deeper into Spencer and kind of how that whole thing played out. And I think my first question to him was, just what he's seen from Spencer since he's been there. And he talked about the leader that he is and how he's won over the locker room. We talked about how, Spencer was struggling for part of the year, but he also struggled, right? People were saying he was struggling while they beat Tennessee, while they beat there were also a lot of really bright points, and you saw the talent, the arm strength, the ability to create plays. When he takes care of the football, he's really good. When he doesn't try to do too much and plays within the system, Coach and I were talking about this off camera a little bit. When he plays within the system and plays within what he's asked to do, he's as good as anyone in the SEC. And I believe that. I mean, he's got as much talent, as much arm talent, as much athleticism as anyone in the country. It's when he tries to do too much, right? So I think that's the number one thing I'm looking for Spencer and for this offense now. Like, can the part of it's on the coaching staff, right? Can they keep him in a scheme where he can play his best, put him in the best situation possible? I then asked Coach, and I dove a little deeper, and I said, for Spencer's entire career, there has been a negative connotation around his name. For his time in high school, to Oklahoma, to leaving Oklahoma, to now at South Carolina, there always seems to be, it's never fully positive. It's always something, but there's a but with Spencer at all times. Number one, how do we get past that? And two, what's that come from? Like, why is there always this connotation around Spencer? And he talked about the TV show when he was in high school. The what's it called? QB1 TV show.
Yeah.
Where Spencer did the show, and I know how those reality shows are. They didn't do a great job of portraying him in the best light at times. And Coach made a point that it all started with that, the negative connotation. And he goes on to say, if you're judging Spencer Rattler based off a TV show when he was 16 or 17 years old, then God help you. And he actually defended him pretty strongly. And that's kind of what I wanted to hear, what he'd had to say when I asked him about that. I don't think he particularly loved my question when I said that there's been there's been a negative perception around Spencer. But yeah, I think at the end of the day, Spencer now has a chance to put a full season together, block out all the noise, get the whole, I was looking at articles before the interview. I mean, there's been national analysts that have straight up called Spencer a bad teammate, uncoachable, bad personality. I mean, not many were holding back. And I think now he's got a chance. I'm not saying that's true. I'm not saying it's even remotely true, but he has a chance now to put it all behind him, build off the momentum, and just play really good, solid football, win games, stay out of drama, don't cause issues, and take care of the football. And if he does that, I think they're going to be really good. So I'm excited to see it. I mean, I was at Arizona State. Spencer's from that area, so we got to know him and his family a little bit when we were recruiting him too. So he's got a chance to be really, really good. I'm excited to see how it all plays out.
Yeah, and Adam, speaking to your point, I mentioned this last year about midseason because, again, I mean, we, on this side of things, we watch every single game, pay attention to the sideline, any antics, whatever. And, I thought it was really actually unfair that, to your point, Spencer Rattler was labeled as this bad teammate, bad body language, whatever. You saw none of that last year, but, of course, that wasn't highlighted, which is typical. I understand how media works and everything else. But, by all accounts, I thought he was a great teammate last year and really a tough season in which – I'll be honest with you, at times maybe it would have been justified for him to get really, really frustrated and upset. Yeah. And, he could have shown some of that emotion and been caught on camera, but that never happened. And I think that does not get recognized enough for what Spencer Rattler did. Adam, your thoughts of this Gamecocks offense going in the 2023 season, just based off what you've seen, not even so much your conversations with Coach Beamer, but if you want to factor that in. Obviously, Spencer Rattler's top target, Juice Wells, is back. The running back position, bit of a question. Offensive line, bit of a question. You add Trey Knox out of the transfer portal at tight end. Do you think the offensive line can hold up well enough to get the most out of those weapons that Spencer Rattler has at his disposal?
Yeah, well, that's the first thing I was going to say was the offensive line is the big question mark, right? Especially in that conference, you got to have a good offensive line. So, it's going to come down to that. And Spencer, again, as a lot of quarterbacks are, Spencer's at his best when he doesn't have a guy in his face right away. There's some quarterbacks who almost play better when there's chaos around them. And I don't view Spencer in that light. I think Spencer's better when things are calm. He can still create with his legs, but he plays better with a clean pocket, from what I've seen on film. So that's the first thing I'm looking for, that offensive line. You mentioned Knox, the tight end who came in. I'm excited to see him. He's played a lot of football in his career. Coach Beamer mentioned him to me off camera too, about a guy he's excited about. With the new offensive coordinator, I mean, at the end of the day, can he put the scheme around Spencer and allow him to play within the system? That's the biggest thing to me. They have the talent. Can the offensive line hold up? And will the scheme be a good fit for Spencer? Can they fit the scheme around Spencer and not try to fit Spencer in the scheme? And I think that's the biggest thing. I know that's why Coach Beamer made that hire and why why he's so excited about it. So I'm excited to see it. I think they got a chance to be really, really good. I like the defense. I think the defense has a chance to be good. With all those guys, I like the front seven strong. Coach talked about some of those guys on the pod too. So, I'm excited all the way around. I think they got a chance to have a really, really solid season. And obviously the expectations are high now, but as everything does in the SEC and college football, it's going to come down to how well the quarterback plays.
Yeah. Adam, switching gears a little bit back to your conversation one-on-one with Beamer, he talked about, steps to becoming a national contender, and I'm sure Shane Beamer's a guy that has a plan. From the outside looking in, I would say it's as simple as just recruit the best players and coach well and hope the ball bounces your way. But I'm sure it's much, much more complex than that. What did he detail to you in regards to what it's going to take to get South Carolina football back to the level or just close to that level they were under Steve Spurrier just a couple of years ago?
Yeah, he talked a little bit about the confidence around the program, and that was an interesting topic and comment that he made. I asked him actually, what was the biggest thing that surprised you when you got to campus here? When you got this job, you walked in here, what shocked you the most? And he said the lack of confidence the players had in this program. And so that was one of the things that he said, even in year 3 now, he's still building that up and still getting that to the point where these players week in and week out believe they can win every single game. That's not an easy place to get to, but I think they're on the right track. So that's number one. He talked about recruiting, obviously, and having to have a great strategy between how you use high school scholarships and how you use the portal. Obviously the portal can lead to a quick fix, but can it truly fix the foundation of a program that was broken for a while? So the balance there is really, really important. And then, having a great coaching staff, making sure they take care of things. But he talked too about this coming season, and it was funny. He kind of said the same thing I just did about how a lot of times in college football, if your quarterback plays really, really, really well, you got a chance to go a long way. So I think for this season, it's a lot of it's going to fall in the hands of Spencer. But as everything does in the game of college football now, it's going to come down to how well they recruit and how well and the kind of players they get in this program. Who can they get to replace Spencer? Can they get the big offensive lineman to come to Columbia and make an impact? So I think they're definitely in the right direction. They're rebuilding this thing the right way. I love the strategy between the portal and the high school recruits and how they're allocating those scholarships. And they're not doing the Deion Sanders revamp the whole roster in one season. It's strategic, taking transfers where you have to, but also using the high school recruits to build your program for longevity, which is I think a really important thing in today's college football.
Adam, again, this is from the outside looking in, but I'm just curious from your conversation with Shane Beamer was one of your takeaways. I view Coach Beamer, and you love it as a Gamecock fan, but he's got an edge about him. Like he's very much. I mean, you hear him with the media sometimes, and like you mentioned, the confidence around the program. He had the find some joy comments, and he's like, everybody around here is always kind of waiting on something bad to happen. Like he's just got that fire, that edge. We've seen him, chirp at people on social media. I mean, did you pick that up? Because again, that's a great quality to have in your head football coach when he's got that love for South Carolina, number one, but he's got that competitiveness, that drive, that fuel to the fire, not just on the field, but in recruiting and really all facets that you love to see if you're a Gamecock fan. Did you also pick up on that?
Yeah, I mean, he's unique for a lot of different ways. He has that fiery personality. As I mentioned a little bit earlier, like he's embracing all those things that head coaches for a long time haven't embraced, right? I mean, even again, to come on the podcast, like that's a thing that coaches haven't done for a long time. The way he uses social media, the way the way he answers those questions when I ask about Spencer, the way he defends him to the T instantly. I think a lot of it's unique, and whenever you're unique in an industry like college football that's done things a certain way for such a long time, the hard-nosed old school coaches, a lot of people aren't going to like it. They're going to think it's a little weird. They're going to make fun of them. They're going to say, Shane Beamer, focus on coaching football, right? And he said that on the pod. I asked him about all the social media, the videos. He said it's all great until you lose a game and everyone's like, maybe if he wasn't filming skits, they'd win more games, which is true. That's what they say. But at the end of the day, the way he's comfortable in his own skin. He is who he is, and he's building the program the right way and embracing all these new aspects that a lot of times haven't been embraced, I think is really good. And if I'm a Gamecock fan, like I'm fired up. Like Shane Beamer as my head coach is number one as a player. I'm excited to play for him. Number two as a fan, I'm excited to root for that team. And he makes it easy to be a South Carolina fan right now. There's definitely a lot of momentum in the air when you're around Columbia.
And so now, Adam, we move into year 3 of the Shane Beamer era. Like you mentioned, you win 7 in year 1, you win 8 in year 2. People want more. The expectations are here. You've got your quarterback back. You've got Juice Wells back. You got key pieces on defense back. your overall thoughts on this Gamecocks football team entering the 2023 season. I mean, we've all heard about the schedule, how daunting it is. You open up with that matchup against Drake May and Charlotte and the North Carolina Tar Heels. You've got Georgia on the road week 3. You got to go to Tennessee, to Texas A&M. Oh, no, by the way, you still play Clemson. You know, I've had a lot of conversations with people in regards to what is success in year 3 and just how pivotal year 3 is for head coaches and their programs. And it's sort of the year that kind of shows whether or not you're on, you know, what type of trajectory you're on, which, you know, I think you can get maybe a little bit carried away with that. But I will say there's numbers to back up that if you're going to begin to make a jump and an ascension, year 3 is it. However, again, I would say with the portal, you know, it's accelerated, right? I mean, year 2 is basically year 4 now because you can go in the portal and get a guy like a Spencer Rattler. With that being said, when you look at the 2023 season, and also, Adam, what I think is interesting, you know, when you talk about the hype around this Gamecocks football program and this team, you know, I almost feel like the hype train has lost a little bit of steam since January because of the way the transfer portals impact this program, because of the way it's impacted other programs in the SEC, and, you know, maybe just the realities of this daunting schedule setting in. However, though, expectations are high in Columbia. So when you look at year 3 for Gamecocks football, what would you spell as a successful season for Shane Beamer in this program to continue their ascension and the growth under his leadership?
Yeah, I think a couple things. I think they've already made the leap, right? I mean, you know, you mentioned kind of how do you know, year 3 is the time to make the leap. I'd argue that they've made it, right? When you beat Clemson, you beat Tennessee, you end the season the way they did. I think they've already made that jump where Shane Beamer's, number one, bought himself time as a head coach. Like they could have an average season and he's not on the hot seat, right? Like he's bought himself time. He's shown that the way he wants to do things, and the really important thing is not just buying time. Having those wins shows your locker room that the way coach wants to do it is the right way, right? It will work if we believe in what Coach Beamer is selling us. So number one, that's really important. I think the schedule is incredibly difficult. I mean, we're going to find out how good they are week 1, right? When they got to play North Carolina, the fact that they played Georgia week 3, it's not an easy schedule. They got to play the SEC gauntlet. I think success for the South Carolina program is I'm happy with an 8 to 9 win season. I mean, that's where I'm, you know, I don't see any way that they have double-digit wins. It would shock me. Again, I could see a 7-win season and still be optimistic about the future for South Carolina football. There's a lot of ways that this thing can play out. Obviously, the margin of error is like literally that big when you're playing that schedule. I think that they're going to jump to, you know, contending for an SEC championship and the playoff contention in year 3 just isn't realistic. But the good part is he's shown improvement, that he's building it the right way, and with time, which he'll get now, I believe he'll get a couple more years to kind of get his guys in there, get the program going, get the culture built, that it can happen. But the schedule, they got no favorites in that schedule this year. So I think 9-win season, like I'm fired up if I'm a South Carolina fan. And I think I'm you know, pretty happy with that. I would take that one. I would take that to the bank right now and be pretty happy about it.
Now, Adam, I know you're on a Gamecock show, but I promise there's no pressure to answer this with a South Carolina bias. But I'm just curious, you're taking the SEC East right now. It's safe to say Georgia's number 1. I'd feel confident or comfortable putting Vanderbilt at number 7. Of the programs that are sort of in the middle of the pack right now, South Carolina, Tennessee, Kentucky, Mizzou, and Florida, which of those would you be, I'll just say this, which of those would you be buying stock and selling stock? Because I know Gamecock fans, it's sort of like, why does Tennessee get all this love and this hype? You beat them 63-38 last year. You know, Mizzou, I think most Gamecock fans think that South Carolina's program is better than Mizzou, but they beat you 4 in a row. Kentucky seems to be kind of back on the rise with Devin Leary at quarterback and Liam Cohen, their OC. And then, you know, I know Florida's kind of down in the dumps with Billy Napier and they're figuring it out, but Florida's still Florida, right? They can flip a switch and get right back. So how do you view it? If you had to do like stock up, stock down, how would you label those programs, and which ones do you most believe in that can maybe in the coming years challenge Georgia for that top spot in the East?
Yeah, so I'll talk about 2 of them. My kind of the one I've been disappointed in has been Florida. I think I had a lot of faith in Billy Napier when he got there. Billy Napier does things kind of an unconventional way. He's an innovative head coach, younger guy. I don't see any way Florida has a season that anyone's super proud of in Gainesville. I mean, unless Graham Mertz comes in there and is like in his freaking Joe Montana, I don't see any way that they have the kind of season that everyone wants. Again, where does that put Billy Napier as far as on the hot seat as far as his job? I don't think in a good spot. And obviously the expectations are high at Florida. But if I'm selling stock on one of those programs in the middle of the pack, I'm probably selling it on Florida. The one I'm excited about, and you mentioned it, and I've actually spent some time there with some of their guys, had some of their players on my show, is Kentucky. For number one, to get Liam Cohen back at offensive coordinator. Liam Cohen, he's a UMass guy. I played at UMass, so I know him a little bit. He spent some time with the Rams. Great offensive mind. Learned from Sean McVay. To come back now and be there for Devin Leary, I think is huge. Devin Leary is a guy who for years has been one of the top quarterbacks in college football, has had some injuries and some adversity, but it seems to kind of all coming together now. They've got some transfers in at the receiver position, at the O-line position. And again, I think one of the biggest wins of the offseason in the SEC was for Kentucky to bring back Liam Cohen. Just a massive, massive land. And to do it in partnership when Liam came back, Devin Leary transferred to Kentucky was massive. So I'd say Kentucky's I'm buying stock in Kentucky. Does that mean they're going to win the East? I'm not saying that, but I'm excited about where they're at in that offense. And I think last year's. I think the offense at Kentucky will make the biggest jump of anyone in the conference from last year to this year. Last year, with the OC they had that came from the NFL, forgetting his name, and Will Levis, it was a bad system. Didn't allow Will to be Will. Wasn't great. Offensive line was bad. Now to bring in the transfers they have, to bring in Liam, and to have Devin Leary at quarterback is I think there's a lot to be excited about if you're Mark Stoops.
Adam, I appreciate you taking the time, man. This has been absolutely electric. One last thing before I let you go. Walking away from your conversation with Shane Beamer, on a scale of 1 to 10, what would you rate that South Carolina has their guy to not even necessarily, let's say, win 11 games 3 years in a row like like Steve Spurrier did, but what would you rate on a scale of 1 to 10 that South Carolina has their guy to get them, let's say, that 8 to 9 win per year mark and be the answer for Gamecocks football for the long term, similar to how his dad was at Virginia Tech?
Yeah, I mean, if you would have asked me, if I was on like a different show and this wasn't a South Carolina show, and you'd ask me like who's the stock up and stock down. I mean, South Carolina would be my first stock up. I mean, again, I'm a big believer in two things. Your head coach has to be innovative and a great figurehead for your program for a lot of reasons, or for NIL, for the portal, for recruiting. I don't think you can have a better fit for what South Carolina needs right now. I think the energy he brings, the excitement, the way he's attacking the recruiting trail, and two, again, it comes down to the quarterback. So to have Spencer Rattler back for another year, I couldn't be more optimistic about South Carolina football. I think if scale of 1 to 10, 10 is this guy's going to be the next Nick Saban. I'd be at an 8. I'm that excited. I'm buying stock in South Carolina football. I'd be putting all my chips in that. In the next, if he gets 4 or 5 years, that we're looking at a potential 11-win season pretty soon, and getting South Carolina back to contention for SEC championships and getting them to the conversation of being one of the elite programs in college football.
Adam Brennaman does fantastic work, guys. Make sure you go over to @AdamBrennaman81 on Twitter. Of course, it's Next Up with Adam Brennaman is the podcast. Check out that full conversation with Gamecocks head coach Shane Beamer and also all the other great work that Adam's doing. Adam, I appreciate you taking the time, my friend. Let's definitely do this again soon for sure.
That was good. Appreciate it. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, man. Take care. Great stuff with Adam Brennaman. And again, highly suggest that conversation with Gamecocks head football coach Shane Beamer. Guys, we're going to jump into a quick break. On the other side, though, we got our conversation, our Columbia regional team breakdown with folks from the Campbell Camels. As we talk Campbell, hey, are they the favorite in the Columbia region? They seem to be the darling. We'll get more info and intel on them here on the other side, guys. Appreciate you all tuning in. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie Ho.
Welcome back, ladies and gents. Wednesday, May the 31st, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. Really excited for this upcoming conversation. Appreciate Adam Brennaman taking the time, man. That was absolutely awesome. We'll have content and clips from that, of course, later today and all throughout the day. Guys, be sure, by the way, you're tuned in on YouTube. Make sure you hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you get notifications when we drop new video content and when we go live as well. Also, be sure to subscribe to the Spurs Up Show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcasts. We drop all of our podcast content every afternoon at 5 p.m. Eastern Time. Also, we go live every Sunday night in our Rowdy Rooster Rundown, which is basically where I just recap and break down everything that happened over the weekend. And the audio version, the podcast version of that drops Monday mornings at 5 a.m. Eastern Time. Again, guys, we've had great feedback, and we've seen great results from the way that we are now producing and distributing the podcast. And I appreciate all of your feedback. Please keep it coming, guys. It means more than you know, and I value it greatly. Again, like I said, we're continuing the Columbia Regional Team breakdowns, and our friends over at d1baseball.com, they actually dropped their Columbia Regional preview, if you will. And each one of these regional previews, they go through and they give number one seed win probability. And I'm not going to spoil everything because obviously d1baseball.com is a paid service, and so I don't want to spoil what they have going on. But they give number one seed win probability on a scale of 1 to 10. Okay, 10 being utmost confidence. Number one seed's going to win. It's a slam dunk. Number one, or a 1 being, we have doubts, skepticism about the 1 seed. They're probably going to get upset. Number one seed win probability. And of course, the Gamecocks are the 1 seed. They give a 3. A 3 number one win seed probability. And who is the team that they are expecting to most likely take down the Gamecocks? Well, it is the team that we have featured today, the Campbell Camels. Shout out to the guys over at the Orange and Black Podcast, at Orange in Black Pod on Twitter. Appreciate them taking the time. And guys, we're going to go ahead and dive into that conversation with the Orange and Black Podcast as we continue along our Columbia Regional Team breakdown on today's show, talking the Campbell Camels. Y'all enjoy this convo. All right, guys, we're going to stay on the show. In lieu of this weekend's action at Founders Park, we talk the Campbell Camels as we continue along our Columbia Regional Team breakdowns. And who better to talk to than folks straight from Fayetteville, the Orange and Black Podcast. I'm very pleased to be joined by Andrew Miller and Dylan Shanklin. Guys, appreciate you taking the time. It's a pleasure to have you on, and very, very excited for a fun weekend of college baseball.
Yeah, absolutely. Thanks for having us on. It's the most beautiful time of the year, and we're looking forward to making the trip down to Columbia this weekend and watching some great baseball.
Yeah, thanks, Chris, for having us on. Like Andrew said, this is the most beautiful time. I think we're baseball fanatics. And we love talking about Campbell baseball and how hot they are.
Indeed, boys. Let's get right into it. So in regards to Campbell, 44-13 this season, 22-5 in the Big South, and you guys won the Big South. What were the preseason expectations for Campbell baseball? Was this type of run expected? Did this exceed expectations? I'll start with you, Andrew. I mean, where did you sit in regards to Campbell baseball and what you guys were expecting in this year?
Yeah, over the past 5 years, Campbell has been the class of the Big South. You look, Campbell has 5 straight regular season titles in the Big South, and they've won 2 straight tournament titles and 4 out of the last 5. So coming into the season, kind of our expectation now was to, win the conference championship, regular season, and tournament. And just, in the past, we've been a 3 seed. That's the highest that Campbell has ever been. And then you move into the season, Campbell goes on a little run, looking good, and you start getting the host talk, and that's something that, we're not used to, which is awesome. It's just another step in the right direction for head coach Justin Hare, who took over the program in 2016. So to answer your question, our expectation was to just win another Big South title and see what we can do in the NCAA tournament. But here we are. Campbell was on the borderline of being a host, and ultimately ended up being a 2 seed. But as Coach Harris said earlier this week, first in program history, and everything is ahead of the boys, and that's all you can ask for this time of the year.
Dylan, what has led to the rise of Campbell baseball under Coach Hare in regards to, has it just been recruiting? Has it been because, I'll be honest with you, I had not heard of Campbell baseball really being a power even until last year, and I forget the guy's name, but it was the shortstop that had that humongous leg kick that dropped nukes. And that's when I took notice of Campbell baseball. He was so much fun to watch. But what has led to this rise where Campbell now, again, 5 straight NCAA tournaments, they've become truly a power in the Big South?
Yeah, I mean, recruiting is a great start. And I think the recognition, like you said, Zach Neto, with the very high leg kick, and obviously the quick rise up to the major leagues playing shortstop for the Los Angeles Angels. And also Cedric Mullins, let's not forget about him, play for the Baltimore Orioles. And you got guys kind of spread out through the minor league system. But recruiting as well, Coach Harris done a great job in recruiting. I think he's done very well in JUCO. If you look at up and down the roster, he's done very well getting guys from different JUCO colleges to come in. And the guys that have the chip on the shoulder want to come and play for a team that now consistently makes a regional. And like Andrew said, now they're on the borderline of hosting. And so guys want to be invested, and they have a brotherhood. And Coach Harris he just talks about the brotherhood. And I think if you get a guy invested, definitely the brotherhood aspect of it is a really interesting aspect of this team.
Now, Andrew, as you mentioned, Campbell was on the cut line in regards to regional host. And I know going into Sunday's selections, if you will, it was highly debated who should be a regional host. Auburn, South Carolina, Campbell, Boston College, all those teams in that mix. Campbell is the odd man out. Just give us your immediate thoughts, your reactions to it. I know Campbell fans and Campbell Nation was less than pleased. And why do you think the committee got it wrong? What would you say to people as to why you feel that Campbell got snubbed?
Well, ultimately, if you just want to look at it and you look at the NCAA as a whole, there's always going to be some bias sitting in there. And you look at the committee. You had the chair of the committee was AD, who is Auburn's AD. You also had Indiana State's AD, who's on the committee, and then also an AD out west whose son is second baseman for the South Carolina Gamecocks. And you guys are hosting, whereas on Sunday in the final D1 baseball predictions, that was flopped where you guys were coming to us. So at the end of the day, it's going to come down to some bias, but there's also some things that Campbell could have done to solidify themselves as a host. Obviously, Campbell is in Bowie's Creek, North Carolina, which if you ask probably 99.9% of people in the United States of America have no idea where that is. Our stadium seats about 1,200, and that's not going to cut it when it comes to a regional. So Campbell put in a bid to host at the Fayetteville Woodpeckers. That's a single A park down in Fayetteville. And, that gave us the best chance to host, talking about numbers wise and hotel wise. But apparently hotels don't matter if you're in Lexington, Kentucky, but we'll let that ride. But then, Campbell's in the Big South, and we had a large majority of our schedule was against quad 4 teams. Now we won all but 3 of those games, but Campbell also challenged themselves in the non-conference in the midweeks. They swept ECU, beat UNC, beat Coastal in a 3-game series. They won 1 out of 3 games. So they're going out and challenging themselves, and that's all you can do as a mid-major school when your conference is so bad. So from that point of view, Campbell finished the season 13th in the RPI, which if you look, only 2 teams outside of the top 16 made it, and as a host, and that was Oklahoma State and Auburn. And that kind of goes back to that. Maybe there was a little hand nudge from the Auburn AD there, but at the end of the day, there's nothing you can do about it. At the end of the day, you're playing baseball. Campbell is the number 2 seed for the first time in program history, and they have everything ahead of them. And Campbell from our perspective and from the coach's perspective, probably has the best team that they've ever had in their program's history, and have won 5 straight Big South tournament regular season titles. And that's all you can really ask for, is just sustained success and continual growth.
Now, Dylan, let's move to what makes this Campbell Ball Club tick. And I feel like you've got to start on the mound with that fantastic starting rotation. Cade Kuehler, who featured a 8-0 record with a 2.82 ERA. Hunter Lloyd with a 4-4 record, 4.61 ERA. And then Chance DeCula, 8-1 with a 5.25 ERA. You also go down the list and some great bullpen arms there. Aaron Rund with 5 saves. Who featured a 3.83 ERA and 18 appearances. A guy like Ty Cummings with 21 appearances. Cade Boxrucker with 16 appearances. Cameron O'Brien with 16 appearances. Just talk about the top guys off the mound. And again, it seems like it's that starting rotation which has really sparked Campbell to this fantastic season.
Yeah, like you said, Cade. It starts with Cade Kuehler. Cade's going to be that probably late first round, early second round draft pick. He throws heat. And he was out towards the bottom half of the year. He was missed a couple weeks, but he came back, did fantastic in the Big South tournament. And he was fantastic all year. He was the Friday night guy. We kind of all said it in our Discord chat. Like when he came in, it was shut down immediately. You gave yourself no chance when Cade was on the mound. And then, after that, it's been a mixture of guys. Hunter Lloyd started as the midweek guy, turned into the Saturday guy. Chance was that 2-3 guy. He's been really, really good over the season. And this team, this is probably their best pitching duo guy mixture of guys that they've probably had. Like you said, Cade Boxrucker. He started the final game at Mississippi State in the previous regional, so he's got regional experience in a high pressure situation. And then you have those great bullpen guys, Aaron Rund, who finished out the Big South tournament last game, went 5 innings, was pretty much perfect. And then Ty Cummings, who didn't even pitch in the Big South tournament, so he's gonna be fresh. And he had a lot of innings. He has some starting experience, but mostly used in that kind of the bullpen area. So this pitching staff's going to be fun, and it kind of leads off to our great offense.
Yeah, speaking of that great offense, Andrew, this offense is certainly no slouch. One of the top offenses in all of college baseball, led by guys like Tyler Halstead, 377 hitter, 4 homers, 38 RBIs. Lawson Harrell, who hit 374 with 22 bombs and 68 ribbies. Jared Belbin, who hit 325 with 19 homers, 62 RBIs. And guys, you go down the list, 16 home runs, 10 home runs, 14 home runs, 12 home runs. I mean, it is just guy after guy. Also, you guys have speed. Tyler Halstead with 32 of 36 in stolen bases. A guy like Jared Belbin, who I mentioned, 25 of 25, hasn't got thrown out yet. You go down the list here, Peyton Howard, 18 of 19. So this is a Campbell lineup that can beat you in a multitude of ways. What can folks expect when they watch the Campbells dig in?
Yeah, I think it goes back to the team's mantra, and they just preach a hard-to-kill offense. And you see that across the board, as you mentioned. You have 6 guys who have double-digit home runs, led by Lawson Harrell, who has 22. He's only 4 behind the school record for most home runs in a season. And speaking of that guy who leads the team in home runs, he bats 6 for us. So,
wow,
you have some power at the beginning of the lineup. Jared Belbin has been either in the leadoff or the 2-hole for us all year. He has 19 home runs. So you have pop at the beginning of the lineup, you have pop in the middle of the lineup, and then you have pop at the end of the lineup. Going back to our Big South championship game, we were trailing 2-1, and then Lawson Harrell in the 6th hole hit a Oppo Taco to tie the game. Very next pitch, our catcher, who normally you don't see as much pop from, normally, in terms of baseball, he comes back and just ropes one to left field, takes the lead, and we win. So your 6 and 7 holes in that game, when you really needed it, really came through. In that game, our 1 through 4 guys only had 1 combined hit, but then 5 through 7, I think, had like 6 or 7 hits. So it's a team that they can beat you. Anybody in that lineup can beat you any given day of the week. And like you said, when they get on, they'll steal some bags, they'll bunt some guys over. And if you see Campbell with a guy on third and their tie game or something, you're most likely going to see a suicide squeeze than a sack fly or something like that. Coach Hare likes to push the envelope. He likes to put pressure on opposing pitchers, and that's something that he's not scared to do. Sometimes it runs you out of games, but more times than not, it works, and that's something that he's really excited about, and he does a lot of. But this offense can hit for power. This offense can hit for contact. They can steal on you, and they can really apply pressure to the opposing pitcher, and that just goes into their mantra of being hard to kill.
Dylan, this is a Campbell fan base and a team, I think, that feels a bit disrespected and feels like they got snubbed when it comes to being a regional host. Just talk about the overall mood and the vibe of Campbell Nation heading into this regional. And by the way, side note, you guys get NC State in the first game, and I know we talked about this earlier on you guys' show. Not a lot of love lost with those other North Carolina schools, folks like North Carolina, NC State. I'm sure Campbell, you constantly feel disrespected because they're the big school, they're the SEC, ACC, whatever, and it's like, hey, look at us, and you guys go to their place and beat them. So overall vibe and mood of, again, Campbell Nation, this team, this fan base going into this weekend.
Yeah, I think they're going to be here to play. We were everybody's dark horse choice when we talked about Omaha and College World Series, and everybody looked towards Bowie's Creek and the Campbells like as a team as that could be a threat. And like you said, NC State, we usually play them each season for reasons unknown. You can ask all the officials. We didn't play NC State this year, which was kind of weird for us, but the tide to turn, and we're going to meet in a neutral site in Columbia. So we're going to end up meeting them and settling this debate. And I mean, we're 45 minutes from NC State and the Triad area, UNC, Duke, UNC and Duke we played this year. So we're going to come to play. And this team, like you said, has a little chip on their shoulder, should be hosting, but that's okay. We're going to come to play. And this is a team that is probably the best team that we probably ever had in school history. No offense to the other teams, but this team has depth, has pitching, has offense. So we're going to come to play, and I think we're going to make some noise in this regional and make it fun for South Carolina, NC State, Central Connecticut, where this is not going to be easy regional to get out of.
And on that note, I'll go to Andrew. Tell me, what do you know about the Gamecocks? And if you had to pick a key for Campbell, if they're going to win this regional, right, a tough regional, as Dylan just said, if they're going to win this regional, what is the key for Campbell this weekend?
I think it's playing Campbell baseball. You look at our heading into the regional, you look at the three top ERAs. Campbell is in the third spot, but they are not far behind South Carolina and NC State there. But then, as we've talked about with the bats, when the bats are hot, they are hot, and it's really easy to tell. When Campbell starts out hot, you typically know, and it's not close. But as of late, Campbell has been able to win some close games, which is key as well. But especially on Friday, this might not impact you as much, but normally when Cade Keeler steps onto the bump, his first inning is a telltale sign of how the game's going to go. On the other side, though, with our offense, sometimes it can take 7 innings, and it's like, what is this offense doing? And then it's like with the snap of a finger, Campbell's totally back in it, like 6-7 run inning. So one thing I would say to all the South Carolina fans is, even if you have a lead on Campbell, don't think that it's over, because these guys can really turn it around and in the blink of an eye.
Guys, I appreciate you all taking the time. Dylan, let everybody know where they can find you guys' work.
Yeah, so we're the Orange and Black podcast, Spotify, Apple, wherever you find your podcast. We also have a Substack page, free subscription or paid subscription, where we post the daily podcast, where you can find us. We talk about Campbell baseball and all baseball, all the sports that we have at Campbell. We had just dropped our podcast yesterday talking about the regional and a look ahead towards this regional that we're really, really excited about. So wherever you find podcasts, Orange and Black podcast.
Andrew, Dylan, I appreciate y'all taking the time, and hope to see the Gamecocks and Camels do battle. Maybe Saturday night in the winner's bracket will be a ton of fun at Founders Park. Appreciate y'all, and best of luck this weekend.
Thanks, man. Have a good one. Go Camels.
Go Camels.
Y'all take care. All right, appreciate those guys over from the Orange and Black podcast. Really, really good stuff, and excited. I think there's a good chance we will see South Carolina and Campbell face off at Founders Park this weekend. Guys, that being said, we're going to go ahead and jump into a quick break. Hey, on the other side, we're starting the Power Hour early, as I want to hear from you all. Your questions, your comments, your calls, and more. All that's on the other side. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Muscle Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, May the 31st, 2023. Appreciate each and every single one of you tuning in. I hope you enjoyed that conversation with the folks over from the Orange and Black podcast. Appreciate them taking the time to jump on to help us break down everything with the Campbell Camels, who, you know, I tell you, they've labeled themselves as the nobodies, but it feels like everybody is picking them to win the freaking regional. So we'll see. It almost feels like South Carolina is an underdog in their own regional, which, you know, you finish up the way they did. It happens. It happens. So anyways, guys, we're taking your questions, comments, calls the next hour and a half in our power hour. You know what's crazy too? I was sitting here thinking over the break that, now obviously TDC is structured out. And, it's funny and we see this in our own daily lives, when you change your habits or you change your routines for the better, you think to yourself, you're like, I can't believe I used to do it that way. You know what I mean? I can't believe I ever did it that way. That's kind of how I feel now. It's like, I can't believe we went through a 2-hour show, just literally unguided, like no regiment, no nothing. And I also can't believe I wasn't really creating valuable podcast content of it. Like, I just don't understand why that's not the case. By the way, I wonder too, have Coach Ford and Coleman Hall just dipped out? Are they just not YouTube guys? I'm just wondering that. Coleman Hall and Coach Ford, if you are hearing the sound of my voice, if you're tuning into the podcast, create a freaking YouTube and come get in the comments, because those guys used to be in the comments every single day, and now they're not. I mean, it's just like, come on, guys. Come on, guys. Everybody's got Google. Everybody can go to YouTube and jump in. Maybe they are in here. I don't know. Let's see. Let's get into your questions. How about this? Andrew Murphy commented this morning. Said, Whittle reported this morning McGillis should be able to make an offensive impact this week and has been healing quicker than originally thought. Said he won't be able to play defense. So how about that? Will McGillis could jump into the lineup for South Carolina. Little did I know. Austin Gregory says, it may be hump day, but it's a bad weekend to be a Camel, no doubt. Peyton Smith over under 7 wins this year for the Cox. Peyton, I think that's the number. Like, if you were setting a Vegas total in my mind, you've seen 6.5. I think 6 is kind of absurd. I think 7's the number for Carolina. I think that's the one you're going to get even money on. Let's see. Excuse me, guys. Braddock843 says Omaha bound. I hear you. Austin Gregory says BGB, Big Game Boomer, released his top 50 punters. Kai Kroger is ranked number 2 in the country. Love to see it. Ethan says, we'll love to go to Knoxville this year. Vanderbilt was awesome last season. I've never been to Vandy either. It's a great road trip because you're always going to win, right? It's a great road trip. Let's see. Ethan said, Austin, Lindy's magazine has listed Kroger the number 1 punter in preseason first team All-American. Ethan, have you seen Lindy's magazine? Or are you talking Athlon? Athlon's magazines. I have not seen Lindy's college football magazine. I have not seen it. And their website does not really... Their website does not really help out a ton. I mean, you guys know I'm a huge preseason magazine guy. So, let's see. There's really no date either on when it comes out. There's no date on when it comes out. So, unless I've missed it. Interesting. Because I'm seeing people talking about it now. But I have not seen anything when it comes to, let's see. Here's their Twitter account. Okay. Goes on sale May 31st. Is that so it's today? Is it available in store? Oh, never mind. That was 2022. Okay. Well, darn, guys, they haven't tweeted since 2022. Anyways, I'm getting lost in this magazine thing. Will Hall, what's going on? Appreciate tuning in. Madison Duncan, great to see you as well. Austin Gregory, SEC East winning losing season since 2010. Georgia 12-1, South Carolina 9-4, Florida 9-4, Mizzou 6-5. They went 500 twice. Kentucky 6-7, Tennessee 6-7, Vanderbilt 2-11. Stephen Phillips says, Cocktober, what's up, my brother? Bad weekend to be a Camel indeed. Travis said it's a great atmosphere in Athens, Georgia. James Kendall, our entrance is 100 times better than Georgia's. I wish our exit was also. James Kendall confirmed Chris is a closet Vol fan. Jesus. One day I'm a Florida fan. The next I'm a Tennessee fan. The next I'm a Cincinnati fan. Who knows? Who knows? The next day I'm a Clemson fan. Who knows? Justin Langford, let's make Gunnar Stockton and Wishy to stay with the garnet and black. Lynn Turner, a complaint I've heard about Neyland Stadium is you're packed in like sardines. I've also heard that. It's a very old stadium. Very, very old stadium. Austin Gregory, nothing made me happier than beating Muschamp and Bobo in the same game. Talk about two birds, one stone. Indeed. How about this? Ethan says, dusted off the old PS2 last night and played NCAA 07 with Reggie Bush on the cover. The Gamecocks' top two players were Sidney Rice and Fred Bennett. For some throwback names. Love that. John Ebert says, on paper, this is a better Carolina team than the one that we upset Georgia. John Ebert, this is also a much, much better Georgia team. Let's jump to the phone lines here.
From
Dalton, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Can you hear me all right, man?
You're cutting in and out just a little bit.
Hold up. 1 second. Is that better?
That is better, yes. What's going on?
First, I'd like to make it known that I am not afraid of losing to any soup or Campbell's. I do not think Campbell is a better team than South Carolina. I do think that we will win the regional, and I'm going to be at every single game that we play in this weekend. So, you know, I'm excited about it. I think it's going to be a good time. But in your opinion, as far as our chances of getting out of the regional, would you say it's more likely than not? Because most of the handlers think we're kind of cooked in this regional. Like we're one of the one seeds to get eliminated.
Yeah.
It's easy to see why that would be. However, you know, I look at our team. Obviously, the Jerson and Noah Hall injury.
Dalton, you're cutting in and out on us a little bit again, but I will say this to your point. You know, Campbell's getting all the love right now. I really, when you look around D1 baseball and others that just talk college baseball that are talking about this regional, you know, they are the hot pick. They are the trendy pick. They're the sexy upset pick as a 2 seed beating a 1 seed in their regional. You know, you asked me my confidence level, and I will lock in, by the way, my official prediction for the regional as a whole tomorrow night. I've already made up my mind, but I'll save that for tomorrow. But I'll just say this, that, you know, I understand what Campbell's done this year. Campbell's a very, very good ball club. I mean, they've got some big-time dudes, some big-time studs. But, yeah, South Carolina, top to bottom, is a more talented team. And South Carolina should be the favorite in my mind. And to not make them the favorite on their home field. Again, I get that the Gamecocks struggled down the stretch. But they struggled against top-tier SEC competition. The likes of Arkansas, Tennessee, Auburn, Kentucky, all of those teams which are in the postseason, and a couple of them are hosting. So, you know, and I'm not trying to make excuses for the Gamecocks necessarily, because obviously you didn't do what you needed to do down the stretch. With that being said, though, yeah, man, I go into this weekend very confident that South Carolina can come out a winner. I really do. You know, I said it before the season. I'll say it again. This team's got talent. If they don't win, it's not on the players. They've got talent to make it happen. I mean, this is a team good enough to get to the next round. Are they good enough to win a super regional? I don't know. We'll cross that bridge when we hopefully get to it. But, I mean, I feel confident overall. I mean, it's not going to be easy. Again, I think Campbell's a really good team. NC State's sneaky good. They've got talent. And even Central Connecticut State, man, they've got an arm in Neiman that you'll probably see on Friday night that if Carolina's not careful, could give you some fits. But, you know, if we see this Gamecocks team even return to 70% of what we saw in the first 40 games, they're by far the best team in the regional.
And my next question is, what do you think the addition of some of the guys that we've had out injured, like a Will McGillis, obviously Cole Messina, went into concussion protocols, you know, in the SEC tournament, but it seems like he'll be back in the lineup this Friday, which is good. Do you think that will sort of change our run production? Because it seems to me that, you know, there were only a couple dependable bats in the lineup. You know, Brewer has been having a terrible slump. You know, he's not a great hitter to begin with, but, you know, these down the stretch, he's looked downright bad. Evan Stone, as we know, already isn't a great hitter. And then Will Tippett, he's looked good sometimes, but he's very inconsistent at the plate. So what do you think the addition of some of these more veteran guys into the lineup, like a Will McGillis, Cole Messina, will do to sort of help us produce runs again?
Well, it obviously gives you a major boost to your lineup, Dalton. I mean, having Cole Messina in there is absolutely pivotal. It's a must, right? You know, if Will McGillis can give you some swings, fire off some swings, and he's a quality bat to add, and also, you know, Braylon Wimmer coming back in the field. So, I mean, this team is as healthy as it's been since the midway point. But to your point, Dalton, you're talking about these guys coming back, and I mean, that's all great and everything. But the key Gamecock of the weekend's Ethan Petrie. Just bottom line. I mean, the drop-off, right, or the slump, if you will, it directly correlates with his slump. It directly correlates with his struggles down the stretch. His last home run in SEC play before the SEC tournament came in the Florida series. And guess what? That was the last series Carolina won in SEC play in the regular season. I mean, it's no coincidence. So Ethan Petrie, to me, is the key Gamecock. He is the guy that in the middle of the lineup just makes this thing go. And I know that it may feel like it's a lot to ask of a true freshman, but at this point in the season, man, you're really not a true freshman anymore. Like, with the amount of experience that he has, you're not really a true freshman at this point. So he's one of your dudes. He's one of your studs. You absolutely need him to be at his best this weekend if you're going to come out of the Columbia Regional victorious.
And then as far as the rotation, I know, you know, we already talked about it a little bit, but what do you sort of see the pitching rotation setting up like this weekend? Like, who do you think we should start in game one? Should we go with Matthew Becker, or should we go Eli Jones, Becker, and then or Eli Jones, Mahoney, and then Becker after that? Or should we switch it up? Because obviously, I mean, Central Connecticut State, no flight to them. I'm sure they're a pretty good mid-major team. They wouldn't be in the postseason if they weren't. But you know, I'm not really looking at Central Connecticut State as a team that I'm super worried about losing to. I'm mainly looking at NC State and Campbell as two teams where, you know, you're going to have to play your best baseball to beat them. So, you know, setting up the rotation and bullpen, how would you sort of go about it?
Yeah, that's a great question. Again, Dalton, we talked about that yesterday. Like, do you save guys? Who do you go with? I would, and, you know, it's funny seeing that there's a lot of slapdicks on Twitter who think they know what they're talking about when it comes to a weekend rotation. And, you know, anyways, I would go Eli Jones on Friday. Here's the thing, too. I don't think at this point, like, I think when you compare Eli Jones to Jack Mahoney to James Hicks, they're all very comparable. I would move Matthew Becker back to the bullpen. They're all very comparable guys. So I don't think you could really go wrong with any of those three guys. I'd be fine with keeping it Jones, Mahoney, Hicks. I would be totally fine with that. Again, Kingston's going to play matchups. I think you can fully expect the fact that Kingston's going to play matchups. That's what it's going to come down to. I would expect, though, Eli Jones to get the baseball on Friday. But I tell you this, Dalton, I will not be surprised if we are surprised at some point in this weekend. Because, again, Mark Kingston, he loves to lean on analytics. He loves to lean on numbers. And when you do that, sometimes there's some unexpected guys that you'll be counting on to step up and start a game or throw innings or what have you. So there's a lot of storylines, right, with the Gamecocks pitching staff. It's not as simple as just roll out there 1, 2, 3. It's, who goes in game one? How do you use Will Sanders? Like, how do you use Matthew Becker? When does Veach come in? So there's a lot of moving pieces, but I would go Eli Jones in game one.
Well, do we know if Chris Veach is fully healthy at this point? Because, I mean, obviously in the regular season, he was an elite closer.
Mm-hmm.
If we get into the 8th, 9th inning, there isn't in a close game, 1, 2-run ball game. I wouldn't want anybody else, coming in to relieve than Chris Veach. So do we know if he's fully healthy to come in? Because, since the Florida series, I haven't really seen him pitch that much for us.
Didn't Chris Veach come in late in the game in the SEC tournament? I thought he did. I thought he came in late in that game, in one of the games.
Maybe.
I think he did. As far as I know, Chris Veach is good to go. That's the latest I've heard. He's good to go. I don't think Chris Veach's health should be an issue. Now, again, we never know, but I don't think his health again should be an issue. So,
well, I'm looking forward to it. I already got my ticket against Central Connecticut State, and I'm hoping we, get into the second round winners bracket, and whether it's NC State or Campbell. I hope that, we can get some momentum on Friday night and go into round 2 with some confidence and hopefully win this thing and go on to the Supers.
Founders Park will be rocking indeed all weekend, man, especially if you get that winners bracket game Saturday night against either Campbell or NC State. Going to be a lot of fun. Dalton, I appreciate the call as always, my guy. Take care.
You as well.
Yeah, man. Good stuff. Good stuff from Dalton. Good stuff from Dalton for sure. Guys, talk to my friend Mike Gillespie of ABC Columbia. Talked with Mike Gillespie. He's saying that this afternoon sometime we should find out when the Gamecocks and Tar Heels will play in week 1 and when Carolina and Furman will play in week 2. So we should have kickoff times for the first 2 weeks sometime this afternoon. Let's get back into your questions, guys. Let's see. Where did the questions I wanted to get into go? Lynn Turner says, Campbell, here we go. Campbell does not recruit many freshmen. They pick up a lot of JUCO players that were originally D1 recruits. Well, that definitely helps. Here we go. Gamecock Fanatic. If you were Mark Kingston, who would you start and save pitching-wise on Friday? I would start Eli Jones, Gamecock Fanatic. I would start Eli Jones. I would. Again, the good news is this, like of Eli Jones, Mahoney, and Hicks, I think all 3 are very comparable. So I don't think you can go wrong with any of those 3. I would save Jack Mahoney for game 2. It's not even really save him. I just think Eli Jones has been your game 1 guy. I think he's more than capable of giving you a high-quality start, and I would go with him in game 1. And I would go with Jack Mahoney in game 2. Again, some of it's going to depend on the matchups and stuff like that, but I think Jack Mahoney matches up against damn near anybody really, really well. So let's see. Travis says Coach Ford and Coleman probably only want to talk about football. They're vacationing probably. Let's see. Lynn Turner said, you almost lost me. I don't use Google, but I created a login just for you. I don't use it for anything else. Well, Lynn Turner, thank you so much for doing that. Thank you. Lynn Turner, Campbell needs to be worried about beating NC State first. Yeah, I mean, again, guys, you probably heard it. Campbell's confident. I mean, their fans are confident. Who knew there was a large contingency of Campbell fans, but they're confident coming in the regional. They feel good about their team. They feel like they got snubbed, if you will, and maybe they're right. Maybe they did. They'll have a chance to prove that. So, we shall see. But yeah. We shall see. Lynn Turner, Messina, excuse me, behind the plate is just as important as Messina with the bat. Indeed. No, the way that Cole Messina manages this pitching staff may be the most underrated aspect of this baseball team. Like the way he's able to manage the pitching staff is incredible. Will Hall, we're definitely currently in the best shape we've been in a while. Looking forward to seeing how things fall into place. Austin Gregory, power rank the following pitchers: Veach, Becker, Jones, and Austin. I would go Eli Jones. So we're going, everybody's healthy. Eli Jones, Chris Veach, Matthew Becker, Cade Austin. That's where I would go. That's how I'd fall. Gamecock Fanatic, I'll be going to the Campbell NC State game. Hope to see a good game. That's awesome. You know, I thought about it, Gamecock Fanatic. We've obviously got TDC. We got my guy Jake Crane coming on in the second hour. I mean, I'll ask you guys this. Would you I'll ask you guys this. I know what the answer is going to be, but I was going to say, would you rather just end the show right after Jake Crane so we can go watch Campbell and NC State? Because I tell you, I'll be highly intrigued to see what happens in that game. I will be highly intrigued. I figured we just rock and do our thing with TDC as normal on Friday, but they do play. There's a lot of college baseball, and they do play at 1 o'clock. So, I mean, we could technically wrap it up early and go watch college baseball. So, I don't know. Up to you guys. You know what? I will say this. Friday, it'll be a feel it out type situation. We're going to have Jake Crane on at 1:15, probably to 1:45 or 1:40. We'll go into a break, and we'll just kind of go from there. We'll see what the crowd is like. If you guys are engaging and we're having great conversation, we'll keep it going. But you know what? If it's slow and people are like, hey, we're going to go watch college baseball, then we'll just do that. So we may end at 2 o'clock Friday. I don't know yet, just to get to the baseball and all that good stuff. But yeah, Austin Gregory says, what a weekend to be in the BCC. Yes. What a weekend indeed, Austin. Be sure to join patreon.com/BigCockClub. Patreon.com/BigCockClub. We will be streaming all of the baseball in there this weekend. All the baseball. We'll have it in there this weekend. Really excited and looking forward to it. So you guys check it out. Join today, patreon.com/BigCockClub. Going to be a lot of fun. Going to be a lot of fun for sure. Will Hall, I'm down to keep the power hour and throw out some score updates. Hey, that'd be fun too. That'd be fun too. Yeah, that'd be fun. Hey, Clemson plays Lipscomb, I guess, at 1 o'clock on Friday. So there'll be a lot of great college baseball going down, man. A lot of great college baseball. So, yep, it's going to be a ton of fun. Ton of fun. Our guy AUPPL threw out his regional graphic. I guess this doesn't have start times on it. This is just like the field itself. Let's see. I wonder if there's a college baseball schedule. If there's a schedule or not. There's a baseball betting guide if you need that. I don't know. Anyways, tons of games, though. Tons of games. Lynn Turner says, I have to watch NC State and Campbell. You said your husband went to NC State. Okay, very good. That'll be a good game, too, man. That'll be a good game, too. That'll be a really, really good game. So, I'm really tempted to give you guys this announcement right now for the Big Cock Club because I'm anxious to share it with you all. And again, it's not something huge. I won't say it's like. Well, I mean, it's a big deal. Let me not undersell it. It is a very, very big deal for sure. It's a very big deal for sure, and something that, again, is going to positively impact those who are currently in a Big Cock Club, but also those who want to join as well. So, I'll wait on it. I'll wait on it because I'll wait on it. We'll wait till Friday. I'm going to be patient. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 790-337. My guy, Eric Reese, what's going on? He said, what's the number one thing you want to see the Gamecocks do this weekend? Hitting, pitching, fielding. The number one thing that I want to see South Carolina do this weekend, Eric, outside of win, right? That's the easy answer. I want to see South Carolina be a tougher out. That's it. I want to see Carolina be a tougher out. I feel like in this slump, we've kind of gotten back to it's either feast or famine. It's home run or strikeout. I want to see this lineup be stingy, even if you get out, man. Just like, dragging at bats on, making it a 7, 8, 9, 10 pitch at bat. Being able to be productive if the home run's not there, forcing the issue, putting pressure on the defense. That's what I want to see from this Yardcocks team. I think the fielding will be fine. I think the pitching will be good. But the hitting side, that's the big question. And I also want to see this team play with a real edge about them at home. I want to see this team play with a swagger, with a moxie. I want to see this team play pissed off. I really do. Dude, you're think about it. You are at home. You are the 1 seed in your regional at Founders Park, and everybody is picking Campbell to win this thing. All due respect to the Camels. Who have they played? What have they done? Dominated the Big South? Whoop-de-doo. Carolina was dominating the SEC. So I want to see the Gamecocks take that personally. I really do. I want to see this ball club take that personally and force the issue and put their foot down and shove it up somebody's ass and make a statement. Because I think Carolina's got just as much to prove, if not more, than Campbell does. Really, truly. Everybody wants to hype this up as Campbell's being disrespected. Well, what about Carolina? They're not being disrespected? You don't think that they're not being disrespected? Carolina at one time was thought of as the best team in college baseball. Sure. They got cold down the stretch. But to insinuate that the Campbell Camels of the Big South deserve to host over South Carolina of the SEC? Are you joking? Are you kidding? Come on, man. And so someone will be proven right this weekend. But I think the Gamecocks are being as disrespected as anybody right now. There's no 1 seed probably taking more of a beating than Carolina right now. Everybody's riding the Campbell bandwagon. Well, I want to see the Gamecocks put their foot down again, shove it up somebody's ass and say, let's go play. And show everybody why we're the 1 seed, why Carolina baseball, why we're in this position. We're the 1 seed. We're supposed to be hosting. We got cold for a while. That wasn't us. That team you saw in the first 40 games, that was us. So go out there and make a statement, man, and prove that you are that team from the first 40 games. Bottom line. And if you don't do that, and we haven't gotten into this yet, maybe more of it on the other side because we're about to jump into a break. But if you don't do that, if you don't make it out of your regional, Mark Kingston should be gone by Monday. Guys, on that note, let's go ahead and jump into another break. On the side, I want to continue to hear from you. More of your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecock seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Marshall Dougie, ho.
Ladies and gents, boys and girls, welcome back. Wednesday, May the 31st, I should say 30th. That was yesterday. May the 31st, 2023. I can't even spit out my words because I'm so excited because it was just announced over the break. South Carolina, North Carolina in the season opener is set for a night game at Bank of America Stadium. Gamecocks and Tar Heels will do battle under the lights, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. How about that? National TV at night, South Carolina, North Carolina. Night game against the Heels. Also, of course, we already know week 2 against Furman is at, or excuse me, week 3 against Georgia, we know is at 3:30 on CBS. Week 2 against Furman is announced as well. Night game for the home opener, 7:30 on SEC Network Plus. So that'll be the only thing people don't like, but a night game. Either way, SEC Network Plus, Gamecocks take on the Furman Paladins, a 7:30 kickoff at night. How about that? Back-to-back night games to kick off the 2023 football season. Huge news as we continue to count down the days until kickoff. Love to see it. I know folks are really, really excited. 7:30 kickoff, night game to kick it off. That'll be a lot of fun, man. That'll be a lot of fun for sure. And the call-in shows after those games will be popping. There is no doubt. Will be popping. Let's see. All right, let's get back into your questions. Austin Gregory said, Campbell's better known for chicken noodle soup than baseball. Yeah, indeed. That's a good point. John Edward breaking night game against UNC. Yes, sir. Joseph, 7:30 UNC. Austin Gregory, you can't knock UNC's lights out unless they turn them on. Bring on the night game. For sure. Yeah, that's awesome. And then 7:30 under the lights as well. So back-to-back weeks, Gamecocks will play at 7:30 Eastern time. Going to be a lot of fun. For sure. Looking forward to that. Austin Gregory says, South Carolina fans residing in South Carolina can easily attend 10 games this year. Everything is a reasonable outside of Missouri and A&M. Neyland, Athens, and 7 home games are all doable. You're right. Hey, you are right. They're all doable, no doubt. It's all a reasonable drive. Hayden Uzelac just says, boom. Ethan, you got Lindy's magazine. Where did you get it, Ethan? Ethan, where did you get the magazine? God, I am sleeping out here, man. How about that? I'm fast asleep. What am I doing? Ethan, please share with me where you got the magazine. Lynn Turner, don't like noon games in Cola in September. The sun's brutal. Woohoo! Yeah, dude. Thank goodness. Yes, James Kendall Furman is also a 7:30 kickoff on SEC Network Plus. You know, that sounds like a really, really good game, James Kendall, to do a watch party at Carolina Ale House, Somerville, just to exercise some demons. I know it's a night game, but we got to exercise some demons at Carolina Ale House, Somerville, man. No doubt. That's awesome, man. Dude, I tell you this, too. I don't know what it is, who we're paying off. I don't know what's going on, but, dude, we are getting very, very fortunate with all these night games. I mean, it's – thank goodness, man. I'm happy to see it. I know we're all happy to see it. But, yeah, it's – you know, it's just like, dang, like we're getting shined on favorably when it comes to these kickoff times. You know, not a lot of noon kickoff times in the Shane Beamer era. Not a ton. So very happy about it and very excited to see it. Let's see. James Kendall says, I'll be in Willie B. I hear you now. I'm just joking. We're not going to throw a watch party for a home game, my friend. We're not going to throw a watch party for a home game. Let's see. Chris Miller just took a look at ESPN. They have us going 2-6 to start the season. No way in hell that happens. Are you talking, Chris, the ESPN FPI, or are you talking other predictions out there I was unaware of? Like, what are you talking about specifically? Anyways, guys, in case you missed it, the big news, South Carolina, North Carolina is officially a night game. Gamecocks and Tar Heels will kick off at 7:30 on ABC, so a nationally televised game. That'll be a fun one, too, man. I mean, that is truly one of the best games of week one. It really is. Taking the bias out, man, there's so many intriguing storylines. You have 2 great quarterbacks, 2 programs who desperately need to win that first game, 2 new offensive coordinators. These 2 teams are very similar. I mean, there's a reason why you're seeing the line at a pick 'em or 1 point or what have you. So, there's a reason why that line sits at what it is. So, okay, based off FPI, yeah, FPI is BS, man. I wouldn't put much stock in the FPI for sure. So, I see Austin Gregory saying he got it from Lindy. I'm actually serious, Austin. I'd like to get Lindy's magazine. I did not see it yesterday in Publix, though. I did not see it in Publix. I must have missed it. I don't know. I'll go back today and look because I want to get that magazine. For sure. Got to get that magazine. Got to get that magazine. No doubt. Got to get the mag. Got to get the mag. Anyways, guys, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. We had a text here. Beamer seems to be a great guy, able to recruit outside of the traditional areas because of his ties to the ACC from his dad and his coaching days at Oklahoma. On top of that, he seems to be more savvy with the transfer portal than some other coaches. I think he has us on a good trajectory. I also think Shane Beamer's got Gamecocks football on a good trajectory. Indeed, I agree with you. I agree with you 110%. Apparently, the Cheez-It Bowl is now the Pop-Tarts Bowl. It'll be played Thursday, December the 28th at 5:45 p.m. Eastern Time. I tell you this. People say there's too many bowl games. You just hate fun. If you think there's too many bowl games, you hate fun because there are a few things better than that time of year. You know, it's the Christmas time or whatever, New Year's around the corner, and you got all these bowl games, just endless football. You know, you cut one other time of year. It's a random Tuesday at 3:00, and you cut on your TV, and you got college football to watch. Like, it's just incredible. It's incredible, man. I love it. How about some real Carolina merch, by the way? I shouldn't be spoiling merch plans, but how about that? Big news. Night games to start off the year. How about it, man? How about it? Here we go. Week 1 on SEC, week 0 and 1. Early season SEC football TV schedule. Hawaii at Vanderbilt, Saturday, August the 26th at 7:30, a night game. How about this? Thursday, August the 31st, South Dakota at Mizzou, 8:00 Eastern. I guess these are all on SEC Network or SEC Network Plus because Florida and Utah play on Thursday night as well. On that Saturday, September the 2nd, because they don't include the Gamecocks game here. You got Ball State at Kentucky at noon, Mercer at Ole Miss at 2 p.m., Southeast Louisiana at Mississippi State at 4, Western Carolina at Arkansas at 4, UT Martin at Georgia at 6, Alabama A&M at Vandy at 7, and Middle Tennessee at Alabama at 7. Dude, the week 1 schedule in the SEC is trash. The week 1 schedule in the SEC, outside of Carolina, North Carolina, and LSU and Florida State, those are the only 2 games like really worth a damn. Week 2, you got Ball State at Georgia at noon. Austin, and again, these are just games on the SEC Network channels, if you will. Ball State at Georgia at noon. Austin, PA at Tennessee, TBD. Eastern Kentucky at 3. Kent State at Arkansas. Dude, these teams are playing nobody. Middle Tennessee at Mizzou at 7. Arizona at Mississippi State at 7:30. That's a good game. Furman at South Carolina at 7:30. And Grambling at LSU at 7:30 as well. I mean, dude, it's just trash. Like, Jesus. Week 3, of course, the Gamecocks take on Georgia this week. The other games, at least on the SEC Network channels, Kansas State at Mizzou at noon. That'll be a good one. UL Monroe at Texas A&M at 4. Samford at Auburn at 7. And then Georgia Tech at Ole Miss at 7:30. And, I mean, I guess I just didn't realize, like, how many cupcakes there are because, like, bro, that's all it is on the SEC Network the first 3 weeks. I mean, my God. Nobody's playing anybody. You know, like, what in the world? Chris Miller, how about the 2024 blue chip ratio being number 2 in the nation behind Alabama? How about it, Chris? How about it? Yeah, Shane Beamer is doing work on the recruiting trail. Travi, yes. ABC for South Carolina, North Carolina. ABC is where they'll be televised. The game against Furman will be SEC Network Plus. But national TV for week 1. Austin Gregory, if we make a push for the SEC East, are we rocking with Beam Team or Shane Train? Well, I've got a shirt already, Austin Gregory, that says all aboard the Shane Train. It didn't do quite as well as I thought it would because Beamer Ball took over, but I've got all aboard the Shane train, but guys, I think Beamer ball to the moon. That's going to be the overriding slogan, man. That's going to be the overriding slogan. That's going to be the overriding slogan. So, let's see. Jonathan Lee says, or Carolina Ale House, Greenville. I don't know what our plans are yet. We're actually working right now with Carolina Ale House to reconfigure and reconstruct our partnership. All I know is this, guys. I'm going to be doing a post-game call-in show after every single show. After a show. I'm going to be doing a post-game call-in show after every single game. Okay, every single game. So whether I'm at Carolina Ale House, I'm in the studio, whatever, I am going to be doing that. That is a fact. Even if I was at the game, that is happening. 110%, that's happening. We are doing that post-game call-in show. It makes too much sense. It's too valuable for business not to do it. And so that is how we will operate. So I don't exactly know, to be honest with you guys, what the football season looks like for yours truly. I don't know exactly where we're going to be. I think there's a good chance we're back with Carolina Ale House, but I'm not 100% on it. I'll be totally honest with you. I'm not 100%. So, yeah, we shall see, and I will keep you updated with our plans, but I cannot say with 110% certainty that that'll be happening. So, anyways, guys, your reactions. North Carolina, a 7:30 kickoff. 7:30 kickoff. On ABC, week 2 against Furman. Also a 7:30 kickoff on SEC Network Plus. So, exciting stuff, man. It's just, you're getting closer to the college football season when you start to get these kickoff times and find out when we're playing and all that good stuff, man. It's just really, really exciting. Ton of fun. So, really looking forward to it. We got a long way to go, obviously. 94 days on our countdown, which I'm sure many of you saw the countdown drop this morning. Those countdown videos are always a blast for me to post because it's just like one day closer, one day closer, one day closer. And then before you know it, there's 30 days left and there's a week left. And then before you know it, it's kickoff. So it's a lot of fun. Really, really good stuff. Really, really good stuff. Let's see. Austin Gregory, did the Spurs Up slogan come from your show, or did you name the show after the slogan? No, it did not come. I did not create the Spurs Up slogan, Austin Gregory. The Spurs Up slogan did not come from the show. No, the Spurs Up was a thing. See, a lot of people thought it was just a Muschamp thing. It was actually a thing before Will Muschamp. It wasn't said a ton. Will Muschamp obviously made it popular, but no, I saw that slogan and created the show name. I was kind of going through, it was funny too how quickly the Spurs Up show came about in the sense of like there were no other names for the podcast. Like I remember just sitting there, and obviously we got like 0 followers at this point, so there's no pressure or anything. We're just like, what about the Spurs Up show? I don't know. It just rolled off the tongue. It just worked. I never expected, because we can acronym it TSUS. We can do this with it, do that with it. It was just the Spurs Up show. Just it. So it just worked. You know what I mean? So anyways, now I did not create the Spurs Up slogan though. Guys, that being said, let's go ahead and jump into a quick break. On the side, I want to continue to hear from you more, your questions, comments, calls, more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood Subscription Box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Marshall Dougie, ho.
All right, guys, we're back here on this Wednesday, on this hump day. Appreciate you all tuning in again. In case you missed it, the first 3 weeks of the South Carolina football season are officially set from a kickoff time and network standpoint. Gamecocks will take on UNC week 1, 7:30, a night game in Charlotte on ABC. Week 2, another night game for the home opener, 7:30 yet again, SEC Network Plus. And then, of course, week 3, as we knew, 3:30 on CBS against the Georgia Bulldogs. So, hey, like I said, when those kickoff times drop, man, you know it's just around the corner. And I know we cannot wait for kickoff yet again. But in the meantime, 843-790-3377. That's 843-790-3377. Would love to hear from you all, your questions, your comments, and your calls. How you feeling? How are you feeling? Just a couple of days before the regional begins, the Columbia Regional. Gamecocks, Campbell, NC State, and Central Connecticut State will all fight for the right to advance and go to the super regional round as the road to Omaha gets underway. Really, really excited for it. Really, really excited for this weekend. Looking forward to a lot of a weekend packed action at Founders Park. Yeah, great baseball, Founders. So, GA said, do the call-in show from Woodruff Road with their phenomenal Wi-Fi. I hear you. The homie Lamont is cooking, it seems, per Brennan M. Okay, hopefully he cooks. Hopefully he cooks. Austin Gregory, the loser of the Pop-Tarts Bowls, you have to eat unfrosted Pop-Tarts. How about that? Why not? Do it. Will Hall, what stoner is in charge of the naming rights of that bowl? I have no idea, my friend, but the Pop-Tarts Bowl is officially a thing now. Austin Gregory, we need to make a serious push to get Mike Yuva back in Soda City. I thought Mike was there. Honestly, I have no idea. I haven't talked to the dude probably in over a year, so I have no clue. But I thought he was back in Columbia. I have no idea. No clue. I think he goes back and forth, if I had to guess. But I genuinely, guys, have no idea. That's just my best guess. Let's see. Georgia is getting a night game at home for the first time in 2 years. Good Lord, that's crazy. That's wild, dude. That's just disrespectful, dude. If you're Georgia, that's wild. How about Tennessee, Florida is a night game in the swamp, 7 o'clock on ESPN. Major college football matchups on ESPN and ABC, and they somehow leave off the Gamecocks. I have no idea. LSU, Florida State, that is the Sunday night game, 7:30 p.m. Eastern on ABC. Texas at Alabama, September the 9th at 7 o'clock on ESPN. Tennessee, Florida, 7 o'clock, ESPN. Oklahoma, Texas is TBD, but they're on ABC. Stanford at Colorado, 10 o'clock Eastern kick on ESPN, October the 13th. And Notre Dame at Clemson, November the 4th. TBD on the kickoff time, but that game is also on ABC. Why do you not include Carolina, North Carolina? I have no idea. Anyways, let's see. Here we go. Let's go ahead and jump to the phone lines.
From
Robbie Davis, Zaxby's Hall of Famer.
Robbie, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
I'm doing pretty good. Still a little under the weather, but I'm feeling a lot better than I was yesterday, that's for sure.
I love to hear it, my friend. Love to hear that.
But I love the time that some of the times are coming out now. 7:30 kick for UNC. And honestly, if I had to choose between going to a day game or a night game, I love going to night games. Because, and I've been to day games too at South Carolina, the atmosphere is a whole nother animal whenever it comes to night games at Willie B.
Mm-hmm.
And it's like you set foot into Willie B at night with that crowd going and them lights and the culture that Beamer is building there. May God have mercy on any team that goes up in there, because our fans will not have mercy on any opposing team that sets foot into Willie B this season at night.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, Gamecock Nation will definitely be bringing it for sure. And, I think it'll be probably a pretty even 50-50 split week one in Charlotte. But, yeah, man, I mean, Willie B at night is right up there with some of the best environments, if not the best, in college football.
And like I've said before, the best environment that I've been in at a night game at Willie B was absolutely last year at A&M or against A&M. Was I expecting us to win? In my heart of hearts, yes. Did I think we were going to win in my heart of hearts? Probably not. But we just, for that game and for the Tennessee game and for the Clemson game, it something clicked, and it was magical. Those last couple of weeks of the season. And Has the spread gone up or gone down at all for the UNC game, or is it still the same?
I think it's a pick'em. I believe it is a pick'em. So if anything, it's actually come down a little bit. Because I think at one point it was UNC 1.5. So it's floating right around a pick'em, I would say. It really just depends on which sports book you look at.
But I definitely think that we're going to have ourselves – we're obviously going to have a tough schedule. Our schedule's tough every year. And we just got to just show up and play, doggone it. When we played with kind of like a underdog mentality for the back half of the season last year, and respect is not given whenever it comes to sports. Respect is earned, and you want to earn some respect, you go into College Station against A&M this year and do the same thing you did against A&M last season, you'll start getting respect. If you somehow go into Athens and not get the crap beat out of you for 4 quarters, at least make it look decent, that'll get some respect. And beat the living dog mess out of teams that you're supposed to beat, or just win by any means necessary. Because winning will prove that, like, hey, something's changing in Cola and y'all ain't even paying attention, and it's right in front of you. So
I love it, Robbie. You got me fired up, my guy. You got me fired up, ready to go.
And go into Neyland Stadium and show that 63-38 win was not a fluke.
Indeed.
Because I'm pretty sure nobody's gonna give us a chance to go into College Station and win. No one's gonna give us a chance to go into Neyland Stadium and win. Nobody's gonna give us a chance to go into Sanford Stadium and beat Georgia. But who gives a damn? Okay? Because I certainly don't. Because like I always say, you still got to go out there and play the damn game. Okay? On paper don't mean squat once the season starts. Go out there, freaking just win and get it done. Because if you win, you'll start getting if you win games, you start getting respect. And the more games you win, the more respect you get. And we've got to do that this coming season.
Very well said, my friend.
The 8-5 record was not a fluke.
Very well said.
Show that the 8-5 record wasn't a fluke, and dadgummit somehow show that loss to Notre Dame was absolute. That was a fluke, because in my opinion, we should have won that freaking game. Okay, and even though we don't play Notre Dame, but we need to show that we're on the up and up, and no one's going to get in our way to get it for us to get to where we want to be, and for where Beamer wants us to be.
Well, Robbie,
go ahead.
Yeah.
All them idiots go ahead and keep doubting Beamer. Go ahead. You're going to be eating your words probably sooner rather than later. That's all I got. What did you want to say?
I'm just saying, you've got the chat fired up, my man. You got the chat fired up. So we'll have to get this message over to Shane Beamer and the Gamecocks, because I'm ready to run through a brick wall. So, and
I will definitely have my prediction for the weekend for the baseball team for you tomorrow for sure. I'm still thinking about it. I'm still thinking on it a little bit.
Yeah, no, I got you. Hey, take
your
time.
But you have a great rest of the show. And as always, leave the dumb stuff to me. Go to hell with Clemson.
I love it, Robbie. I appreciate you, my friend.
All right, buddy. Have a good one.
Yeah, man. You too. Great stuff from Robbie Davis. How about it? Great stuff from Robbie Davis. Robbie got the whole chat fired up, man. Robbie got the whole chat fired up. Let's see. Robbie Davis over under 7 minutes. He went just over, Frank. Football, Frank, just over. Eric Reese says, lost my voice within the first 15 seconds of that A&M game last year. Insane. I will tell you, man, admittedly, here's a funny story for you. I was not in the building. I was in Columbia, but not in the building for 2012 Georgia. Came to that game with a couple of buddies of mine, guys I used to be friends with, and we rode together. And the tickets were so expensive that, and at that time, of course, man, I'm broke. I'm 21, just college kid, have no money practically. We went to game day that morning and, all rode together, whatever. And we were trying to put our money all together to get tickets. And basically we had like 300 amongst the three of us. I mean, we were broke. And they broke off and went and walked without me or whatever. They found 2 tickets for, I think, $250 or $225 or something like that. Ended up buying 2 tickets. Gave me the $75 or whatever. Like, hey, here you go. You're on your own to find a ticket. And I could not find one. So I actually watched that game outside in the fairgrounds. Watched that game in the fairgrounds. So I didn't really get to experience it firsthand at how loud it was. I really didn't. It was crazy. Crazy to think about that, but I didn't. That game last year against A&M, that opening kickoff, I mean, that's one of the loudest I've ever heard it. That's one of the loudest I've ever heard Willie B. That was incredible. That was incredible. Lynn Turner, best home atmosphere ever for me was the Ole Miss birth of Sandstorm. That game was crazy fun. I was at that game, Lynn. That was a blast. That was a blast. Will Hall says, one of my favorites was the Kentucky game where Eric Norwood took 2 fumbles to the house. What a great game to be at. Indeed. But he says 2012 Georgia easily was the best game I've ever attended. Gavin says that we need Robbie giving the pregame speeches. I would agree with you. Hayden Yu says, Robbie speaking facts. Austin Gregory, it was a pleasure betting with Frank Sportsbook. Where do I collect my winnings? I'd like to cash out. Frank in here making bets in the chat. I love it. I love it. Making bets in the chat. Gamecocks opening with a pair of night games in the 2023 football season. Week 1 against UNC, 7:30 kick on ABC in Charlotte. And week 2, 7:30 kick under the lights at Willie B on SEC Network Plus. Guys, hey, before you know it, we'll get into the season simulation series. Before you know it, that's going to be here. Cannot wait for that. It's always a lot of fun. I was thinking about it. Last year we did it right up to kickoff. I think I'm going to start a little bit earlier this time around, a little bit earlier. Our guy over at SG1 Sports, he has not added the freshman. Really, the only freshman probably need to add, probably Desmond Umeazulu, but also Nicholas Harbor. So he hasn't added the freshman. That's why I haven't. And also, we're in the midst of baseball. I don't want to start. I don't want to start any off-season content until baseball has concluded. It's crazy. The guys over at That SEC Podcast, Michael Bratton, they do a great job. There's some others as well. But, I think to myself, I can't imagine. I know football's king. I understand it. I know football moves the needle. But from the content perspective, and I understand if you're covering all 14 teams, it's about to be 16 teams. If you're covering all those teams, you never run into things to talk about, even when it's football. But, dude, there's so much fun in covering and watching baseball and even basketball. It's when you only talk football, I don't know, man. I think you miss out on a lot of the fun, really, truly. Because every sport has its things that make it special. You know what I mean? So I don't know. I would never only want to just cover football. I just wouldn't. Again, it moves the needle. There's no question. And there's nothing like creating content during football season. There's nothing like it, but you got to appreciate the seasons for sure. You really do. You really do. So, let's see. Yeah, no, yeah, okay. I was wondering what Brendan was talking about. Yeah, it's just they I forget, they didn't really abandon me. I think I was at a tailgate and they ended up walking. I don't know exactly what happened, Brendan, but we got split up and yeah. Will Hall says, Chris, 2012 Georgia, 3 of us bought tickets for $400. 2 ended up being bogus. Wow. I got in, unfortunately, knew one of the ticket takers, got to him, and he was able to get them in. Wow, that's crazy. That sucks. That just sucks. People are like that, fake tickets. It's just brutal. Anyways, let's jump back to the phone lines.
Call from
Frank.
Frank, what's going on, man? How you doing?
Hey, what's up, pal? How you doing?
I'm doing fantastic, man. 94 days till kickoff, so I'm excited.
94 days. I'm loving it. Now I know I owe Austin a bagel for hitting the over.
Oh, yes. Hey, and I was going to say, too, now you don't have to call in and say like 160 days or anything like that. Now we're officially we're in countdown season. I think we're officially in countdown season, so.
Double digits.
Yeah.
Double digits. I just wanted to throw a little bit of realism at us boys in here. I keep hearing all this talk about the 9-something record and Tennessee. We beat Clemson. Yeah, listen, let's go back and refresh our memory. We lost to Arkansas, Florida, and Missouri. So we got to start taking care of business. But anyway, if everybody was so hot, now that we're on the sports book, if everybody was so hot on that record, we'd be hitting Caesars hard with that 6-win over-under.
Yeah, I mean, I'd say if you're that confident in like a 9-win season, man, you ought to go to Vegas and just rob them, because I mean that over/under total of 6 is just free money in that case. So, I'll even say I think the over is the play with Carolina. I do, not to spoil into my predictions or anything like that, but I think the over is the play. I just, especially if you get into that 6 number, it's just really hard for me to fathom that Carolina is going to go 5-7. I mean, that to me would be ultimate disaster type of year.
And you got a half a point. You got a half a point to play with. You're not going to lose the bet unless they only win 5.
Right.
So 6 is a push. And with everybody screaming and yelling about how great we are and how many wins we're going to get this season, I don't see guys lining up at the desk to get that ticket.
Yeah.
So we're all talking like 9 wins, 10 wins. Well, how about you go throw a G on the 6-point over and, clap all the way to the bank.
Put your money where your mouth is, right?
Yeah, I mean, I keep hearing about is how we beat up Tennessee and how we beat up Clemson, and I don't hear anybody talking about how much money they got on the over.
It's different, man. It's different when you're putting that cash down. It's a little bit different.
Here's the thing: you only lose the bet if we win 5.
Mm-hmm.
They're giving you 6 as a push, so I just don't see how all us hardened fans aren't walking over to the desk and dropping a couple of bucks on it.
Yeah, no, dude, for sure. Like I said, I think Carolina over 6. You heard Barrett Salee say it. I mean, I've heard, I guess what's scary kind of, Frank, is this. I've heard nobody say take the under. Nobody. You know what I mean? So it's like everybody's just no-brainer on Carolina over 6, over 6.5. And that's kind of scary, right? It's kind of, normally when the public is all the way on one side, the other side will hit. But I really struggle to see a path. I mean, listen, if Carolina were to go 5-7, in my opinion, they definitely lost to UNC. But I think they probably lost to like Vandy. Like, honestly, I think that like an upset like that would have to happen. And I don't know, man. I mean, it's tough to predict that.
Oh, I don't know this. I mean, losses to me too. Like, again, look, with these games we should lose, and these games we should win. And everybody's going back to that Florida game when you don't mind losing to Florida.
Mm-hmm.
You don't want to lose 30-6.
Right.
So some wins are wins, some losses are losses. We got to pick one out. 8-4 for me, like I said 1,000 times already.
Mm-hmm.
I'm taking 8-4, hoping for a bowl win, and walking away happy. So again, every time I keep hearing about these 9-win season, this 10-win season, and then I don't hear anybody talking about what a lock the over is. I'm wondering, if anybody's going to ever put their money where their mouth is.
Yeah, I would sign up for 8-4 right now, my friend. I really would.
Yeah, I'm hoping for that.
Mm.
If we go 7-5, nobody's going to be, I'm not going to be too. I'll be disappointed, but then we're gonna, hopefully we get to a bowl game we can win. Then we're 8-5, like previous year. But you get 8 wins again, you're going to end up in a good bowl game again, and then maybe the next step is to just go 8-4 and win the bowl.
Yeah, I think showing that consistency, Frank, reestablishing a new floor. I think you do that if you get to 8 wins. I think that's the goal.
Yeah, I don't even know what people would have been saying had we beat Notre Dame. They'd be out there screaming about a 10-win season right now.
I think so. I mean, listen, Frank, there were people last year picking 10-2. So I mean, if you thought that team last year was going to win 10 games, I don't know.
Well, I'm sure they were all set straight after the first couple of games, but and the only way we're getting a double-digit win is to win in week 3. So that's we're gonna have to crush some big-time teams. So that's either Tennessee or Georgia. That's the only way we'll get a 10-win season. So and I'm not afraid I'm not going to put any money on that.
Mm-hmm. For sure. We'll see, man.
All right, man.
You never know. You never know, Frank. The countdown continues, my friend. It'll be here before we know it.
Let's all get out there. Let's get that let's get that money on that over. That over 6.
Let's go throw the cash down. I agree with you.
Yeah, so we win the bet, and then hopefully win a couple extra games on top of that, and everybody be happy. We'll all meet up at a bowl game in Florida somewhere.
Indeed. I love that plan. Frank, I appreciate you calling as always, my friend. Always a pleasure to chat with you.
Take care. Have a great day.
Yeah, man. You too. Football Frank calling in once again. Love that. Love to hear from Football Frank. Guys, we're going to jump into one final break. On the side, we'll close out the show with more of your questions, comments, calls, and more. You're tuned in to the Daily Crow. Attention all Gamecocks seafood lovers. Are you tired of searching for the freshest seafood in town? Look no further than the Carolina Fish Market, your go-to destination for the finest and most flavorful seafood in the Carolinas and beyond. Introducing the new Carolina Seafood Subscription Box, a culinary delight delivered right to your doorstep. Each month, you'll receive a carefully curated selection of fresh local seafood sourced directly from the waters of the Carolinas and beyond. From succulent shrimp to mouth-watering grouper to flounder or tuna and everything in between, their subscription box brings the ocean's bounty straight to your Gamecock kitchen. What sets the Carolina Fish Market apart is their commitment to quality and sustainability. They work closely with local fishermen and women who use responsible fishing practices, ensuring that every bite you take supports both your taste buds and our precious marine ecosystems. They've even won Best Seafood 5 out of the last 8 years. But that's not all. They're offering free shipping to all TSUS listeners on every Carolina Seafood subscription box, making it even easier for you to indulge in the flavors of the coast. Experience the convenience and joy of having fresh seafood delivered right to your door without any of the hassle. Don't miss on this incredible opportunity to elevate your culinary adventures with the Carolina Fish Market's Carolina Seafood Subscription Box. Join the seafood enthusiasts across the nation who are savoring the taste of the Carolinas, one delectable bite at a time, and just in time for Father's Day. Visit their website today at carolinafishmarket.com. That's carolinafishmarket.com, and embark on a seafood journey like no other. Freshness, flavor, and convenience await you. Order your Carolina Seafood subscription box now and use the promo code SPURSUP, that's SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. Again, that's promo code SPURSUP, SPURSUP, for $10 off your first purchase. The Carolina Fish Market, where taste meets the ocean.
Marshall Dougie, hold
All right, guys, we're back. Final 7 minutes or so here in the Daily Crow, taking your questions, your comments, your calls as well. 843-790-3377. I think we had my guy Will from Dirty Myrtle trying to call in over the break. So, Will, if you would like to call back in, we'd love to have you. So, we'd love to have you. Anyways, we are continuing to rock here on this Wednesday, May the 31st, 2023. Really excited for this weekend, of course, the Gamecocks baseball taking place. And, yep, with that being said, let's go ahead and jump back to the phone lines.
Call from
Will from Dirty Myrtle.
Will, what's going on, my friend? How are you?
Good, man. Just enjoying this nice day of weather. Working. How about you?
Doing well, man. Doing well. I appreciate you asking. What's going on?
So I wanted to call and do a little devil's advocate here. Since we're so positive on Gamecock Day today, I got to bring it down a little bit. let me first say that I think that we could win 8 or 9 games if things go our way and we play up to our potential this year. But let me take it back for a second and say there is a way that we could get to 5 and 7 that wouldn't be crazy. If you just take a look at the first 5 games of the season, we're probably favored in what? Maybe 2 of those games. You're not favored against North Carolina, even though it's close. You know, you're not favored against Georgia, obviously. You're not going to be favored against Tennessee. You might be favored against Mississippi State, depending on what has happened at that point in the season. You know what I mean?
Yeah, and then
so
Furman's an FCS game.
Crazy.
So, yeah.
Yeah, obviously. But it's not crazy to think that we start out 1-3, 2-3, something like, you know what I mean? Like that wouldn't be out of the realm of possibility. So that's why I'm just saying, with all of our question marks, you know, we don't know who's going to be running the ball. We gotta put together an offensive line, a lot of inexperience there. We got a defensive backfield that I'm confident in. I'm confident Greg can get us together, and I like our guys out there, but they haven't been number ones yet. You know, it's a lot of question marks, and you got Drake May, you got Will Rogers, you got the Milton kid that I'm telling you is probably going to be better than Hendon Hooker. The dude's amazing. My best friend's a Tennessee fan, and all he talked about last year was how much better he thought Milton was going to be going forward than Hendon Hooker. And then you got the Georgia kid, which, I mean, you just put anybody in there, that's probably going to work. My point is that we got a lot of business to handle on our end that we're not sure about yet. And I just want to say, like, we need to temper our expectations. Like, I want to be good, and we should expect to be good. And Shane's taking us that way, but this year might not quite go the way we think it's going to go. You know what I'm saying? There wouldn't be a lot of things have to happen for us to end up 1-4 in those first 5 games or 2-3. You get what I'm saying?
Oh, no, for sure. I mean, I'm just looking at the schedule now. I mean, I think to your point, I think to, again, hit the 5 and 7. Let's just play the game, right?
Right.
The 5 wins would probably be Furman, Vandy, Jacksonville State. And then from there, I mean, maybe it's Mississippi State.
Maybe Missouri. I mean, we haven't won.
Maybe it's Missouri. Maybe it's Florida. But you're losing
right.
the majority of your swing games. Now, listen, I'll say this.
Right.
Is it impossible to go 5 and 7? No, it's not. Because I can look at the schedule right now. And say, too many question marks. You lose to UNC. You lose to Georgia. You lose to Tennessee. Missouri owns you. You lose at A&M. You lose to Clemson. They're better with Garrett Riley. I could say you lose to Kentucky with Liam
Leary
Cohen at OC and Leary at quarterbacks. I mean, they're you lose to Florida. They beat you 38-6 last year. So there's a path to it. But again, like, I think that's the worst case scenario, because in that scenario, you're basically losing every single toss-up game. And I just think Beamer's shown, right, that's not going to be the case. Again, I'm not saying it's impossible. To your point, I think there's a middle ground between, keeping the expectations realistic, between 5 and 7, and say like 10 and 2, right? There's a realistic middle ground, but
right.
No, I think to your point, I mean, it could go sideways, and I mean, I think it's definitely important to keep in perspective that Carolina was was very close to finishing 6-6 last year. I mean, it took two incredible weeks of football that nobody saw coming. Like, we all thought after Florida, okay, 6-6 is incoming. You know what I mean? So it's possible. It's possible. Right. Do I think it happens? No.
And that Tennessee game was probably.
Go ahead.
Yeah, and I was just saying that Tennessee game is probably the best game maybe we've ever played in the history of our program.
Yeah.
All around. You know what I mean? Like maybe that Georgia game in 12 or the Alabama game in 10, but that's right there. So we can't expect that to be the standard. But let me say that I got all confidence. Like, I feel like we could really be a good ball club. And I feel like that first game, everybody always feels like this game is the must-win game this week. But that North Carolina game is so important to our season. Because if we can start off 2-0, got the Furman game at home the next week, you go into that Georgia game feeling pretty good. And even if you could just hang in that Georgia game, you know what I mean? You come out of that game and you feel like you could compete with anybody, but you mess around and you're 1-2 like you were last year. Mm-hmm. That road's a lot tougher coming out of that 1-2. We kind of had a little bit of I wouldn't say easy, but there were some winnable games there after the 1-2 start. Whereas this, it doesn't really get easier until more the latter part of the season. Mm-hmm. You know what I'm saying? The way the schedule lays out. So we need to come and get out to a very fast start early in the year. North Carolina game.
Getting off to a good start is pivotal, man. Yeah, and I would agree with you, man. I will say that I've already made my point that I don't think it's the key game of the season or most important, if you will, but it is a massively important game for sure.
Yeah, and we got to win that game. We have to beat Missouri. I mean, Missouri is the Kentucky last year. Mm. Like last year, I think most Gamecock fans just felt like if we can't beat Kentucky this year, when the hell are we going to beat them?
Yeah.
Like, come on, Beamer. And he showed up and he did his thing and he put his sunglasses on and he danced and we all loved him. It's time to do that shit to what is the dude's name?
Eli Drinkwitz. Eli Drinkwitz.
The Drinkwitz, the Star Wars heat. Can't stand the guy. We got to beat that dude. We have to beat him this year. You know what I'm saying? Like, those are one of those games that you just get. We feel like, I think everybody feels like we're a better program than Missouri. Mm-hmm. We just are. And we got to show it. So, and Kentucky is going to be good this year. People who think that we're just going to walk up or walk into Williams-Brice and win that game this year against Kentucky, that's a good team coming in there. Mm-hmm. They got Vanderbilt's running back, right? The 1,000-yard running last year, along with Leary. I mean, they're reloaded. So we got a tough slate. And one more quick thing before I jump off. Hopefully, man, this weekend can be a good weekend in Founders, man, because I'm really feeling like if we don't get out of this weekend, that Kingston that's it. Yeah. It has to be it for him. Like, I don't even think Supers is in it. Like, we don't get to Omaha, his ass is gone. Because it's time to reset the standard here. And I'll hang up on that, brother. I'll talk to you later.
Will, I appreciate it, man. Thank you so much for the call. And that's a great way to close out the show here on this Wednesday. Some strong words there from Will from Dirty Word, but I love the passion. And listen, I don't know if it'll take Omaha to get him to come back, but if you get booted out of the regionals, I think Mark Kingston's gone. I really do. I don't. And I tell you, if he doesn't get out of the regional and you don't boot him, I think you're going to lose some of the fan base. I really do. I mean, I think Gamecock fans are great and all, but I think there's going to be some people that just do not follow college, or they don't follow baseball. They don't follow Gamecock baseball nearly as closely next year because of it. So we'll see. Again, let's hope it doesn't come to that point, but you never know. Anyways, guys, okay, we're going to go ahead and close it up. We've hit 3:00. Thank you all so much for tuning in. Again, thank you to Adam Brennaman for joining the show today. Also, the fine folks at the Orange and Black podcast, the Campbell folks, want to say thank you to them as well for joining us. And thank you guys for always engaging, providing the banter, providing the questions, the insight, all that good stuff. Another great day as always, guys. Stay tuned. Also, by the way, if you missed anything, go check out the Spurs Up Show on iTunes, Spotify, Stitcher, Google Podcasts, wherever you get your podcast. You can listen back to the show there. You can check out all of our podcast content. And also, of course, you're on YouTube. Hit that subscribe button and hit the bell icon so you get notifications when we go live and when we publish new video content. Guys, thank you all so much for tuning in. Have a great rest of your Wednesday, and we will talk to you all tomorrow.